Happy Cinco
Ooh,
de Cuatro. May the 4th be with you. I'm doing
yes,
the I'm doing
that's
the
Star Trek. You're gonna
yeah,
you're
no.
gonna
I'm trying to
piss
do
off
this
a lot of
incorrectly.
nerds out there. Yeah,
Yes. Are you a big Star Wars fan, Blake?
yeah. I mean, not like geek level, but I do enjoy the movies. Watch them once or twice. Classics more than a few times. But no, I haven't watched any of the the Mandalorian, all the other spinoffs. There's so much stuff out there now, but yeah, the good classic stuff I like. I like Star Trek too, but good
Yeah, I
time,
really like I
good
really like the
sci-fi.
new Star Trek. I saw a rebooted movie. Jeez, it must have been 15 years ago though now. I guess it's not that new. But yeah, like the rebooted movies I thought were pretty cool. I never got into Star Trek as a kid. Really Star Wars either. It was kind of out in 78. I was too young to like I don't know, it just wasn't in my
77,
zeitgeist.
80, and 83.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
saw those in the theater.
you
You didn't see
know,
Return of the Jedi in the theater? Well, I guess I was 6. You're what, 2 years? You're what, a year and a half younger than me?
yeah, something like that. And yeah, I mean, I like it. I appreciate it. I mean, shit, I'm writing a sci-fi script myself, called Moon Saloon,
Mm.
and I love the concept. I love the subject matter. I'm fascinated by it. But yeah, happy. May the 4th be with you. I love that. It's such great marketing. I mean, once a year you're gonna have like this is Star Wars Day. Like that's cool
Yeah,
to have your own day, right? Does Star Wars have any other days?
not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. Yeah, this is the big one. May the 4th be with you. And yes,
Yeah.
guys, that's a joke. So I digress. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for joining us here on the Agree to Disagree show. It is Thursday, May 4th, 2023. I want everybody to pause and go to Spotify and subscribe to the Agree to Disagree show. And we also have a new Rumble channel. Search the New American Media and follow us there because, that's like YouTube minus the censorship, which is pretty cool. On Twitter, we're at American_media_. You can find us on where are we at? Parler and Truth Social and working on adding more sites. You know how it goes. But Blake, tell people where they can find you directly.
The best places would be, of course, Twitter, TV's Blake Walley, and my website, which would be the nextlevelnews.com.
Perfect. And that being said, today's topics, we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve. What are they actually trying to cause? What are they doing? By the way, they're not a federal agency, right? They're a private banking cartel. The
Right.
more you know. We're going to ask about, this Hunter laptop. Are criminal charges needed for this disinformation campaign? This effort by the deep state to rig the 2020 election. Good Lord. What's the U.S. Navy doing? Are we on board? Are they fantastic? Are they? I think fantastic is an excellent adjective for the Navy story. And goodness, I mean, isn't there's a pretty big rivalry between like the Marines and the Navy and the Army. They all kind of jab at each other a little bit, right? Like Blake, people in the service, and you're in the Air Force. Okay, you're one of them. And there's always people talking trash, but good Lord, I think the U.S. Navy went, it's us now. I mean,
Some interesting recruiting ideas they had. We'll see how that
we will
works
get
out.
into we will discuss what the U.S. Navy's doing. I think did Bud Light fire the person running their ad campaigns and then hire them over the Navy? Is it the same person running the ad campaign? I don't
Might
know
as
that.
well be. I know they got 2 people on paid leave, so who knows?
Oh, only two. Yeah, but one of them they're a deep state asset, right? So what do
The
I know?
CEO is a deep state asset.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, they're not an American company anymore. So, if they go bankrupt and somebody else buys them out, cool. Well, I don't care. We're going to ask today in the Today Show, is adding community notes to tweets, would you consider that disrespectful? I don't know. We're also going to ask if we should mandate gender diversity books for all public schools. Do you agree or disagree with that? We're going to talk about this Ukraine situation. There was an attack on the Kremlin. Yes. That is probably, we're going to lead with that story, I believe. So I'm going to shuffle that up to the top of the stack since we're playing Russian roulette, literally, with World War III.
Wow.
This is going to be the second airing of our rough draft version. We have a couple edits we want to make to this and tweak a few things, but I think 60%, 70% of the bones that we want are absolutely in this. This is a Blake Walley special. It's not quite the premiere that it was yesterday, or 2 days ago, but I love watching this thing. Like Blake said, it's like a demo reel. It's so interesting when you watch it. I forgot about several of these. I'm like, oh yeah, we did that. Oh, we did that too. Oh, we talked to that person. I almost forgot. So here it is, Blake. Anything else the viewer needs to know about this before I hit play?
Well, yeah, it's 10 years of history of some of the media that we've been involved in. The titles, there's a lot of technical details that are hideous and need to be worked out, but the basic structure is there. So this was fun. This was Brian's idea to collect some of our highlights over the years and throw them in the intro so people know who we are and some of the things that we've done.
We've been everywhere, man. We've been
all over the country, and we've done some pretty cool stuff.
We really have, from coast to coast, from coast to coast. So, all right, cool. Here it goes. The Agree to Disagree show. There we have it, peeps. The Agree to Disagree show continuing. We are rocking and rolling. And speaking of rock and rolling, we are going to have a special double show today. So stay tuned after our regularly scheduled broadcasting here. We are going to be joined when Blake takes off. He's going to do the tag team thing. He's going to reach over to the edge of the wrestling ring and smack my dad's hand. And my father, Robert Engelman, will join the program. And we're going to discuss the 2023 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. Yes, they've made their decision. We already had I think, Blake, if you go back on Rumble, our very first video is the show that we did with my father, breaking down all of the nominees, kind of saying who should get in and who shouldn't. And it's interesting. So yeah, it's going to come full circle today with so I'm pretty excited about that. Did you see the list? Do you have any preferences, any thoughts?
I haven't seen the list. I'm usually disappointed, and I'm sure you guys are as well. No, I would be curious to see the list. Like, I could give you a quick rundown of my picks, but in due time.
Well, actually, I mean, it's
always exciting, but it's always a rock and roll or not. So it's always kind of a weird deal. And there's like a lot of really great musicians and bands that like I thought should have been in, 20 years ago or something, should have already been there, and they're still struggling. And then they have some strange nominees. Yeah, like Willie Nelson he's already been inducted. Okay. I was like, geez.
Well, now
that should be like lifetime achievement. Yeah, I mean, is it country, western, rock, folk? I mean, whatever. But he deserves to be in no matter what. Willie Nelson. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Kate Bush or Missy Elliott. I've heard the names, but I don't know them that well. George Michael, he's a pop star. Do I call it Rock Hall? I don't know.
I think we've done it two ways. Blake, we
Yeah.
what we normally do is we start off the segment because there's no way around it. There's no dancing around this situation. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has de facto managed itself and rebranded itself without actually changing the name to a music hall of fame. So it really is kind of like a music accomplishment. Um,
All right.
Organization. It's a music lifetime achievement award. It's not rock and roll per se. So we get that out of the way first off and say, yes, in the strictest sense of the terms, no, George Michael doesn't really belong in the Rock Hall of Fame. And I could say Willie Nelson because soft rock is rock, and Sheryl Crow, that's lady rock. That's fine. Spinners, Spinners, that's an older one. Kate Bush, I mean, she kind of had like one song. But Rage Against the Machine, that's a rock band. They have some quintessential music from the throughout the 90s and into the 2000s. That's a rock band with a catalog. And it's like, oh, okay, well, sure, Rage Against the Machine should be there. That's a rock band. So,
Yeah.
that's what they're saying. Over the last decade, the Hall's definitions of rock and roll have widened considerably to incorporate artists working within the legacy of rhythm and blues, country and gospel, sometimes to the befuddlement or the chagrin of artists who protest their own inclusion in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But yeah, Missy Elliott, they called her a rapper and a futurist. I really like Missy Elliott's videos. They were always so interesting to watch. So that is our class.
Has she been around long enough? I mean, I think it's almost disrespectful. Like a legend like Willie Nelson has been around for decades. How long has Missy Elliott been in there? And she's up there.
Well, since the 90s. I mean, you're talking 30 years, 25 years.
What's your number one? What's her signature song? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't even know either. All right, Missy Elliott. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Let me work it.
Anyway, I'm gonna look it up on Spotify right now.
Well, we can't play it. We don't.
What can I play? Like 5 seconds of it?
Is that what you can do?
I don't know.
And it's like the chorus on her song. It's like played in reverse. It's like, oh,
get your freak on. Is that the number?
Get your freak on.
Work it and
work it. That's the one I'm thinking of. But anyway, we're gonna. Okay, stop! Don't get us flagged. Right. Do not get us flagged. Hey, Blake, don't get us flagged. Hey, Blake, don't get us flagged. Anyhow, so we're gonna break that down in a little bit more detail in our after show. Yes, Blake, let's get our freak on. All right, let's talk about the United States getting their freak on, or is it Ukraine getting their freak on, or is it Russia getting their freak on? What happened with this drone attack? We will get into it right now on our really big show.
Yeah.
All right, Captain Blake. Would you agree or disagree that the United States, not Ukraine, was responsible for the drone attack on the Kremlin? Would you agree or disagree with that?
I am going to agree with that. I don't think Kyiv or Ukraine would do this independently without some kind of approval from the United States and NATO. So,
because the United States and NATO are daddy. We are the money.
Right.
We are daddy.
Now, somebody did point out that maybe this is a false flag, that maybe Russia did this to themselves. I doubt it, because I don't think they were backed into a corner or anything. I think the war is going pretty well for them. Just nice, slowly, just keep putting the pressure on until they get what they want. But yeah, it's like a boa constrictor just wrapped around the prey, squeezing. And now, the war has not been going well. Ukraine is losing a lot of troops to join the front lines, rushing quite well. So I don't think they would have any reason to, do something like this. That's kind of a desperate maneuver. But what also is a desperate maneuver is trying to just assassinate Putin at the Kremlin, which is right behind me. The smoke is clear. It's dark here. It's in Russia. It's nighttime. But no, so it was a failed attack. I guess I don't know if Putin was there or not. He says he's not.
You know what? By the way, hold on. Yeah. It's so interesting. You kind of framed it that way, but like let's think of it, right? Like, Blake, in another time, in another place, you could have been a wartime journalist, a wartime correspondent, right?
Oh, you mean if I went into the army?
You could, no, I mean, you could have literally been
Yeah. Oh,
right
yeah.
there. Like, you could have been a wartime correspondent.
Probably not my thing, but yeah, I guess you could say that. And
I get, all right.
if
That's
I
maybe
was
a more of
going
a Ford
into
Fisher kind of thing.
real journalism, yeah, that's really. I'd rather do more of the reporting here from the comfort of my home rather than going out into war-torn areas like real journalists do. Not my thing, or the investigative side. No, so I don't. Those are a couple of things I don't really mess with, as I've forced myself into independent media, but not that kind of media. You almost went, didn't you, where you were considering doing some kind of going into a hostile environment at some point, weren't you, Brian? Or was that just
Oh, I mean, yeah,
chitter?
I lived in Los Angeles for 15 years. I went behind enemy lines. I've said that to Anomaly before about enemy lines. He's like, I don't, not enemies. I'm like, I mean, come on, I mean, it's a turn of phrase, but it's kind of, yeah. I would say Los Angeles was going behind enemy lines, being on the front lines, if you will. But no. Are you talking about in this particular conflict in the past year? Like I said, that was more of a Ford Fisher kind of thing. He definitely had offers on the table, and he was considering it. And we were, of course, we've
Yeah,
we've all
he's a real
discussed.
journalist. Yes.
He's a real boy.
Yep.
What makes somebody a real journalist, Blake?
Well, he actually went to school, like went through the right way, went into the journalism and worked as a intern under Brett Baer, and has gone all over the country and in places around the globe to cover things. So he actually gets his hands dirty, goes in there and does the work, and it's great to see. But no, I was
So
never that
speaking of great to
serious.
see,
Yeah.
yeah, I pulled up here on the screen. This is the drone, and so like the question is, did the drone um was it already, because I read early reports, I don't know if it's changed, but the early reports said that it was disabled and it coasted down where it popped right at the end there. Do we know, is that still true, or have they changed the story? I know you can't believe any reporting in the first 72 hours on any story. But yeah, this is the video footage of the attack on the Kremlin. Blake, what, I mean, what do we know? What are we speculating essentially? Because like that's where like this could have been an assassination attempt on the president of Russia in an
Right.
undeclared war that we are fully financing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it could be. I mean, that's what it looks like it would be. But I don't know what these drones are capable of. I don't know what would had a payload that might have been on it. As you can see, it's detonated there. I know the Russians are supposedly have some world class air defense. Maybe they could have gotten it sooner, or maybe it slipped under the radar. I'm not exactly sure what transpired there.
Could you
Yeah.
imagine? I guess what we're watching here. Let me rephrase this, because actually, did you happen to catch what we tweeted? It was, we're talking about a lot about Ford today, but it was Ford with Brett Baer. He was asking a question of do you remember who he was talking to? Was it the head of the
Yes, it was Ray. We were talking about
CIA?
waterboarding Ray because he wasn't giving up any answers. Because he was sitting there playing stupid, but Brett Baer was putting up the pressure on him, which was fun to see.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to imagine, like, because this was the one where Ford was on with Brett, and they were talking about the pipe bomb. Are we talking about the same story?
Oh, maybe not. I know there was a couple.
Okay, yeah, because I found it on Twitter. It was from a couple months ago, and Brett read Ford's question to him.
Yep, I remember that.
And he hemmed and hawed and danced around and didn't answer the damn question. But I mean, the pipe bomb, if there wasn't enough violence on January 6th, it's suspected that a pipe bomb was going to explode, and that was going to be blamed on dissidents or Trump supporters, which was then going to lead to shutting everything down in an emergency session, stripping power away from Pence, giving it to Pelosi, and ramming through the results. You can't see my air quotes of what happened in 2020. But I mean, could you imagine a pipe bomb going off at the Capitol like this, an explosion like this at our Capitol, or if a drone had flown into the Capitol and exploded like this during, January 6th?
Uh,
I mean,
it just would
we're
have made,
watching this story here, and it's on repeat. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know how super interesting it is, but it's more interesting than looking at our faces that sometimes gets out of syncopation. We're trying to work on that audio issue with the
We can go
video
there. Here, we got
syncing
our
up perfectly.
faces there.
But that being said, could you imagine if there had been an explosion like this at the Capitol from an outside force? I mean, like, think how Russia must be thinking now. It's like, you've blown up our pipeline. You are sending bombs to our home. I mean, it doesn't get any more personal than this, Blake.
Yeah, and Russia is going to retaliate at some point, and they're going to pick a decision at their discretion. I guess that's maybe the quote. I'll have to run a couple of quick stories that I did find today on that. Let's see if I can get one going here. And hello, Jody from Texas. Good to have you here. So this is posting up. So this is from Mike Barra here. Get your popcorn. Meanwhile, in Russia, this is, I think you put this tweet out earlier too, Brian, from Kim.com, saying the Russian strategic nuclear force has been ordered into the highest alert today. It means nuclear bombers, submarines, and missiles are ready for immediate action if the order for a strike is given. We are literally one step away from nuclear annihilation. Now, we've got, I pulled this up out of Becker News that Russia is blaming the United States for the drone attack and the assassination attempt. So, according to Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, Russia claimed that the U.S. was the mastermind behind the attack, while Ukraine was merely executing Washington's plans. There's attempts to disown this both in Kyiv and in Washington are, of course, absolutely ridiculous. We know very well that decisions about such actions, about such terrorist attacks are not made in Kyiv, but in Washington. So, despite the alleged attack, Peskov confirmed that President Putin was carrying out his duties in his office as usual. I also mentioned that security measures would be heightened in the aftermath. Yes, it was 2 unmanned aerial vehicles brought down without causing any casualties or damage. So it's possible they didn't have any payload. So I'm not really sure. They weren't armed with, you would have to have some sort of explosive devices on those. I would think that would be detonated, but I don't know. So more information that needs to come out on this.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different videos showing different angles. I kind of like that first one that I led with, but I mean, there you go. I guess that was the second one, huh? People are cheering and screaming. I mean, imagine that's the White House. Imagine that's Capitol Hill. If we're going to be in war, a war needs to be declared. This has been a major complaint of mine, of social libertarians for a long time, Blake. These undeclared conflicts are kind of the worst, Blake. They're the worst. They're the absolute worst.
It's different, yeah. Rather than just getting congressional approval the way it's supposed to be done, they can just do these proxy wars. And now we've got Ukraine and NATO, meddling around and poking the Russian bear. And the Russians had enough. Finally wanted to go into Ukraine and liberate the Donbass and Crimea and some of the eastern regions that would rather be with Russia. They're not treated very nicely by Ukraine and the leadership. And so it's also a threat to Putin's security. And so he's put this war out there, and it's been very slow moving, very careful not to, minimizing civilian casualties. And then we've had, the biolabs. There's been a lot of things exposed in this, as well as the Americans, most likely, who blew up the Nord Stream pipelines to blame it on Russia to get people on their side, but
According to
nothing
the
seems
reporting
to
of
be
Seymour
working.
Hersh, very well respected journalist.
Right. So that investigation has not gone well. There's no way.
Well, this is how
So
dumb the Democrats are. I mean, these guys, they literally think you will buy anything. They're the biggest snake oil salesmen out there. Oh, yeah. Russia blew up their own pipeline. That's like somebody chopped off their own ding dong. Like, you don't, like, no, you don't do that. That's just not how it goes. Like, that cover story, like, there's no story there. Yeah, in the middle of a war, Russia's going to deplete its they're just gonna cut off their nose to spite their face. That seems likely, right? It's not even remotely likely. Dreamer Ultra in the comments is saying, "Hey guys, this warmongering is getting crazy," and David Lopan is saying it barely took out the flagpole. I mean, okay, sure,
yeah.
yes, it barely took out the flagpole, but I mean that those were two explosions. Um, maybe they were sending a message. Well, what message are we sending? Like they're one button press away. Everybody is on alert right now. One itchy little, one mistake, one, you get tense. You hear a car backfire down the road, but you're living in the hood, and you take cover, and you think someone's shooting at you. This is not good, man. This is all sorts of not good. And this is what the Obama Biden regime gives you. I don't understand how anybody could ever vote for them legitimately ever again. This is catastrophic. Even that we've gotten this close. I wonder if the doomsday clock has changed. How often do they update the doomsday clock? Let me take a look at that. But go ahead. I don't know what
To
you
see. Well, as you don't really want to piss off the Russians, they do not play around. So I don't know what was behind all of this. We'll see what happens with the investigation. Yeah, maybe they weren't really dangerous enough to do any real damage had they hit their intended target. I don't know, but that's still not a not a good thing. Not when things are intense like they are. And yeah, Putin has already warned he is not going to play games if somebody goes on the offensive against him. He's got his agenda, you know, involved in the Ukraine, and he does not want any outsider interference. And he wants to get his objectives taken care of, and they're not going well over there, despite all the things that they've tried to say that Ukraine was winning this war. They are not at all. It's going very poorly, and Russia is just barely doing what they can. They have a lot more in their arsenal if they really want to, amp things up on the offense, but they haven't. So,
Do you think that they would ramp things up if the CIA, the FBI, the Homeland Security, I don't know, which alphabet agency you want to call it. Do you think Russia might amp things up if the United States was participating in an assassination of their leader?
yeah, especially if those would have had bigger explosions or done some more damage. I'm not sure what the report is on all of that. But once they conclude what's going on, yeah, and they've already said, yeah, we're going to retaliate in some way. You've basically given us the green light. So
And
hopefully,
this is at a time when our border is being completely flooded. There's a complete invasion of the southern border intentionally. Our strategic oil reserves have been emptied and depleted. Our surplus of ammunition, of our munitions, has been sent to Ukraine. So we got nothing to defend ourselves with. We're getting overrun at the border. We in the middle of an undeclared World War III. What else? What else? What else? Oh, and you're talking about retaliation. I mean, Blake, there was a stretch there where we had balloons with suspicious payloads floating across our country, spying or other. Maybe a dry run for electromagnetic pulse attack to shut us down to the Stone Age and then finish the invasion. We have railroad cars, railroad trains rocking and falling off track and poisoning our water supply, sending poisonous plumes of toxic filth into the air to poison our people. We have chicken factories being set ablaze accidentally, allegedly. We have, farm after farm. It's a cattle fire. It's a hen fire. It's this. It's that. I mean, if I don't know, if I were just a betting man, it sure seems like we're getting attacked by somebody right now anyway. So who knows? I mean, maybe we are being warned. Maybe we are being messed with in return for the Nord Stream, or for dropping a smoke grenade on top of the Kremlin, like somebody did. We don't know who it was. So agree or disagree on this. I'm not going to agree that it was the U.S., but I mean, we're the ones driving this. We're the ones pushing on this, right? I mean, this is just no. I mean, I guess the official story is that Putin is the sole aggressor. They're not talking about NATO. They're not talking about the expansion of an organization that's designed to just what would you say? Pretty much destroy Russia, to keep Russia in check, to antagonize Russia. Like, the expansion of that, people that are just going to say, "Oh, Putin bad, Putin bad." Okay, well, what got to the point where Putin acted? What led up to that? And you see, when the Obama-Biden regime overthrew Ukraine in 2013, 14, moving forward, they installed their own rogue puppet regime. You look at when Trump got elected. Oh, what? Trump was in Russia and he had a prostitute pee all over him. And so this is our Steele dossier, and we're going to get Hillary, and the DNC gave that, created through Perkins Coie, gave that over to the intelligence officials so they could set up a FISA warrant so that they could spy on the president of the United States on a story that was completely fabricated to pin the tail on Russia. Then they said, "Oh no, Trump didn't win. It was Russian collusion. It was the Russian. Remember that? Oh yeah, it was the Russians. Russia. They're the ones that got Trump elected. He didn't really get elected. There was no censorship of people saying that he didn't actually win enough votes to become president of the United States legitimately. Now, if you say that about Biden, oh, you were slapped and slammed and demonetized and shadow banned and erased in terms of what Facebook did to the new American media, what Twitter did to people, what these social YouTube, if you don't have the right opinions. It's so interesting. It is just, it's never been so obvious that there are two separate sets of justice in America. The Democrats have been up to their eyeballs in shit. Up to their eyeballs. It's flowing out of their mouths, their ears, their eyes, their, whatever, as Trump said about Megyn Kelly. But it's everywhere. And it seems like nothing's happening, Blake. It seems like nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody prosecutes. Nobody goes after them. Nobody holds them accountable. Nobody arrests them. Nobody charges them with treason. Nobody gets hanged in a public court for trying to overthrow the United States government. Nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to care about the Time magazine article that says how they fortified the 2020 election, i.e. rigged it with the lying legacy media, with social media companies, with the deep state. It was a complete collusion. Nobody seems to care. And so what do you do in a country when nobody cares about this? I don't know where we go. By the way, going back to what we were saying about the doomsday clock, it was 100 seconds to midnight, and that setting remained unchanged in 21 and 2022. And then on January 24, 2023, the clock was moved to 90 seconds before midnight, meaning that the clock's current setting is the closest it has ever been to midnight since its inception in 1947. Thanks, Obama. I mean, you can talk about this being Biden. This isn't Biden. Biden can't tie his shoes or change his diaper. He doesn't know where he's at. And looking at the little skin masks that are on him when he's out in public, I don't even know who we're looking at, honestly, as ridiculous as that sounds. But yeah, thanks, Obama. We are the closest that this doomsday clock has ever been since the inception in 1947. Thanks, Obama. So, that's where we are. But Blake, what are we supposed to do in a society that doesn't seem to go after the obvious criminals? I mean, this is a good segue to our next subject, but your thoughts on that, and then we'll pivot to the next one.
Yeah, it's a tough situation with the media completely compromised like this, and a lot of the people out there with their head in the sand, and they don't pay attention to what's going on. When they try to get information, a lot of things are censored on YouTube or social media. They might not run into this stuff, or they really believe the propaganda. And there's a lot of misguided liberals and neocons alike who just kind of go along with these things and they don't dare question. So it's sad, but here we are. And this is what happens when we're not paying attention because it seems obvious to us. And yet,
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. So hopefully
Obvious
we
to
won't
us, and yet,
destroy ourselves in the process.
mhm.
But it's, who knows? It's on the table. Hopefully,
David David Lopan in the comment section saying it's so frustrating, and he
yeah,
asks, how did a drone get that close without Russia scrambling a jet? Serious question. Seems odd. I mean, yeah. How did Tower 7 collapse? That seems odd.
right. You're not allowed to
Right? That's
question that on TV, right?
yeah, isn't that one of the guardrails that Tucker hit head on?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, tell me, it wasn't hit. Why did it collapse? What's the story? That it caught fire from debris
That
out one
debris
window into
fell from
another?
one of the other buildings, even though, yeah, Building 7 was like one of the tallest buildings, or it would be one of the tallest buildings in just about any other city. But in New York, it's not one of the taller skyscrapers, but it was an enormous building, and it didn't seem to make sense. It kind of defied physics. Not that I'm an engineer, but there was something very suspicious about the way that the building fell. So it's supposed to be like some fire that was just festering and festering until it just collapsed in its own footprint. And I'm not quite believing that. It seemed like a controlled demolition, but what do I know? But I'd like to
And then
ask
the
questions, but you're not allowed to say a lot of that stuff on the mainstream side.
no, you can't say mainstream. We got to make sure we change our words. They're lying legacy media. They
Yeah,
do not earn the right. They have forfeited their right to be called mainstream. They are fringe. They're fringe nut jobs. They're lunatics,
right.
and they must be called out as such. Yeah, I mean the Pentagon explosion. It's like, oh, is this what the pipe bomb was going to do? You see the big explosion. You're like, hold on, that was an airplane. That
Yep.
hang on,
But they
just
also had like CIA offices, I believe, that were in Building 7. So they were all gone. So maybe they destroyed records. Same thing with the Pentagon. It was like the one place where the plane, hit the Pentagon was like where they kept the records, and they have $2.3 trillion missing. Not a lot of talk about that either. And they only showed 4 frames from that whole, collision, whatever you
four
want to call
frames.
it. Yep.
4 frames. Come on, 4
They
frames.
still haven't released any of the info. So we're still
Okay.
waiting on that. Yeah, we've been lied to for a long time, for over 20 years. This is totally taken my life on a different trajectory. I had a totally different life plan for myself back in the late 90s. I was going to move to Vegas, become a bartender until I wrote a great screenplay, write movies. And then 9/11 really just kind of it changed the whole country. That it changed all the energy, and it just brought us into this dark new era where it was just the continual war on terrorism, and that was at home and abroad. It was Patriot Act. It was just everything. It was all of a sudden we were in dystopia. And after a few years, the social media opened up, and then we started doing our own media because it was just nonstop lies. And it was so frustrating. Yeah, David Lopan, yeah, saying it's so frustrating, but at least we can say that now. What was really frustrating in 2005 or the early the 2000 era, when I just wanted to scream about 9/11 or the unjustified wars, or there were no weapons of mass destruction, or how did they orchestrate this from a cave in Afghanistan while we're guarding poppy fields and controlling the opium. Like, there was just so many things wrong, and there was no outlet outside of speaking to people in person. No social media. You had no way to get on the news. So that was incredibly frustrating too.
That's what Timothy Osman, is that the guy's name? Timothy
Yep, that
Osman?
was Bin Laden's code name for in the CIA, but he was also friends with the Bush family. So
Do you remember Obama's Secret Service name?
I can't remember. Renegade or something.
Do you
Yeah,
remember the
Renegade. Okay.
definition of renegade? And he chose it.
Yeah.
Do you know the definition of renegade? I believe Barack Hussein Obama chose this name for himself.
That could be.
That's the
Yeah,
story.
I think a lot of them do. Yeah.
Okay, I believe that's the story. Fact check me if that's incorrect. But the word renegade is a noun. It's a person who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or set of principles. An agent who later turns out to be a renegade.
Yeah, it sounds like him, the ultimate deceiver. Pretends like he's all hope and change. He's a great guy, and then it's nothing but just divisive, just this covert, deceptive policies.
I mean, carrying out what the George Bush family did. I mean, talk about covert policies and the New World Order, and I mean, shit. Meet your new boss, same as the old boss, and that's what a lot of people liked about President Trump was he wasn't in this club, and they'll get you. Jesse Ventura writes about it, and he says that when he was a WWF wrestler, they'd go out there. One guy would be good, one would be bad. They'd fight. They'd, play it up to the crowd. They'd love you. They'd hate you. They'd, blah, blah, blah. And you'd fight each other and 1, 2, 3, and they cheer. And then you go off. Then you take a shower and you go to the commissary and you pour yourself a martini and you sit down and you have a steak dinner. Like you're not enemies with the person you just fought out there. Like you're buddies. You're both in on it. So that's like the Republicans and Democrats. David Lopan is saying that's scandal free. Yes, that is exactly the phrase they love to keep using. It's hilarious. They're so stupid. They think that we're that stupid. If they just keep repeating nonsense. Yeah, they're scandal free.
My favorite was when Chris Matthews says that they weren't scandals. They were kerfuffles.
Oh my God. Is that really I missed that one. They weren't scandals. They were kerfuffles.
2014 or something. That was like 10 years ago. Yeah.
He got a thrill up his leg.
Yep. Ugh. That's him. I wonder what he's doing these days. That was such a clown show too.
Well, hey, here's my question, by the way. As we talk about the lying legacy media and their role and all of this deception, like you said, if we had a media that was just telling us what was going on, who, what, where, when, why, and we kind of get to figure it out. There's a little bit of banter back and forth. We consider a couple different opinions and we go along. Yeah, you and I probably would have never got involved in journalism. Who knows what we would be doing if we weren't called to call out the bullshit, if we didn't feel compelled to watch what's going on in the world. I know one concern with trying to watch what's going on in the world now is it's really what they've kind of been concerned about, asking to press pause on artificial intelligence. You shared that video that was pretty hilarious. It was the beer commercial. It was like as if aliens designed a beer commercial. And I said it was like Soundgarden Black Hole Sun. That's so funny.
That video.
But it's reaching a point right now. Do you have the video? Could you pull it up? I don't know if it's worthy. It's not newsworthy. It's just kind of funny, but artificial intelligence is getting real close to a point where, even some of these Tucker videos that are being released, they're being leaked to try to harm Tucker Carlson. Something just looks a little off in the videos. And it's like, I don't know if I can trust my own eyes and my own ears anymore. Like I'm almost at the point where artificial intelligence could create any reality they feel like. And, you know what? We might not be able to play it because of the music. We just have to mute it. If you do.
Oh, that's right. It's all look at the Smash Mouth song on
It's
there.
So stupid. Like all this copyright stuff. If I took the file and I compressed it and then I cut and pasted it, and then I was trying to sell your Smash Mouth song through my website to make money. It's like, okay, I can't do that. But why can't I play a commercial? Why can't I show you? I mean, I guess you're allowed. Nope, don't do it. Don't do it.
No, it's
off. It's so much better with the song though. Post it in the show notes or tweet that one out. I guess we scroll back far enough, a day or two, we were tweeting that back and forth. But yeah, this is an artificial intelligence creative beer commercial. It's very weird, and then it goes super apocalyptic. It's because they watch 1,000 beer commercials, then I don't know how they get some of these images.
Oh, it's so creepy, but it does show you just like what the idiocracy that we've turned into. Yeah, the aliens are probably they watch this stuff and there's like, we're just we need to take over. Just put us out of our misery. This is what a pathetic culture we are. Just bread and circus, drinking beer while the world burns. But it is,
Oh,
funny
goodness.
and creepy and weird at the same time. They got a lot of these new AI commercials. There was one for the there's a pizza one too that's pretty funny, but we'll play that another time.
Uh-oh, pizza. That's
Yep.
code. Anyway, okay.
There's
Let's
a
move on to the
pepperoni
next
hug
topic.
spot or something.
I
But they
want to I want to see share that on Twitter. Tag me on Twitter. Not for today's show, but I do want to see that.
all right.
Please. I need to see like all these commercials. I'm very fascinated. But yeah, I mean, it is what I'm getting at though, Blake, is that it is quickly reaching the point where it is starting to become difficult to discern whether what you're watching is legitimate or a deep fake. And it just gets better and better with time. So, I mean, I'm going to be the first to say it. I think we're in trouble trying to accurately identify situations. I think we're going to have more fake news than ever. Is this the pizza?
Yeah, I'm going to run the volume on this one.
Yes, as long as there's no music to it, we'll make comments.
Right. Let me see if I can get this to work here.
Pepperoni hug spot.
All right, let's see if this can.
Are you ready for best pizza of life? Bring friends down to Pepperoni Hug Spot. Our chefs make pizza with heart and special touch. Cheese, pepperoni, vegetable, and more secret things. Need delivery? Fast. Knock, knock. Who's there? Pizza magic. Eat Pepperoni Hug Spot pizza. Your tummy say thank you. Your mouth say, Pepperoni Hug Spot. It's like family, but with more cheese.
Right. I love that delivery. God. Knock, knock. Pizza magic, baby.
Pizza magic.
Yeah.
Can we have artificial intelligence create an intro for the Agree to Disagree show?
Oh, I love that. We got to sign up for some of that AI stuff. I don't know how to work it, but we'll figure it out. But that would be great to have some kind of put it together.
Yeah, I would encourage some people to go to our Patreon page and donate so that we can do that more easily. But Patreon deleted my page. I don't know if I told you that one, Blake. They deleted, the New American Media page 2 weeks ago, and I've escalated it up, and they're just not relenting. They just deleted it. No explanation. They can't get it back going. They're just, that's what we're up against. Yet we still do this. No matter what you do to us, we're gonna keep coming. We're gonna keep coming.
Yes. What else are we gonna do? So.
This is a passion project. I mean, I'm personally insulted when you think I'm so stupid to believe the stuff that Karine Jean-Pierre is telling us from behind that lectern. The stuff that Biden, the Obama team is typing on the Obama. Geez, hold on. The stuff that the Obama team is typing for the Biden teleprompter and to put in his earpiece. I can't believe they think we're that stupid. So
most people are stupid. That's the problem. They're not even, most of them aren't paying attention. They're not capable. They don't seem to care. It's sad, and it's worked against them, and they use it to their own advantage. They've just really dumbed a lot of people down. Maybe I don't say if whether they're capable or not, but most people are not. They're not intelligent enough or confident enough in their opinions or to break away from their clique or their tribe and what they say. And it's to their own detriment. So that's the way they've used the things against us. They've got what they wanted, a dumbed down compliant population that'll go along and believe all their propaganda. And as David Lopez saying, the deep state could just, deep fake the Trump tape and anything. So between the audio, video, the way that they can write now, it's really hard to tell what's real and what's not. We've only seen the very beginning. So in another year or two, it's going to be really hard to discern truth from reality or reality from fiction or AI. So.
I like when you said it'll be hard to discern truth from reality. That's like when people go to the bar and they'll order a vodka and Tito's.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay. The vodka and Tito's is even the most staunch drinkers who laugh at, because it's a very common Freudian slip. They're trying to say like a vodka tonic or a vodka soda or a Tito's and tonic, a Tito's soda. And they say, oh, give me a vodka and Tito's.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. But yeah, it is. I'm on the record now. Like, I am concerned about trying to discern reality moving forward. It's going to be really tough. And yeah, of course I expect, previously unreleased tapes have Donald Trump saying really disparaging things about minority. I guarantee you that's going to happen. I 100% guarantee you. You're going to get an audio without perspective, without context, without perspective, without verification. Somebody's going to leak something out. It's going to be something gross. There's going to be some sort of hate crime. There's going to be some sort of police interaction with somebody that goes sideways. That's going to be completely faked. This is we're entering a really tough time, Blake. We really are. Yeah. Did you see that video of the guy who had been arrested 40 times on the subway? And he was violently bothering the passengers, and then a veteran grabbed him, took him down, and held him in a chokehold. And
I don't remember if I have it. I don't have it on my list, but I do. I did see that. I am familiar with that, and that way they tried to frame that. Actually, it is in one of my. It is in here somewhere. I will find it. It's under the Elon Musk thing. I think we're going to talk about the community notes, and that story is in there. So, but that's one of the things that's going to maybe help change things a little bit, is the community notes pushing back on, fiction versus nonfiction.
Okay. All right. Well, we could have worked that story because it's a big story. Yeah. It's big for not the reasons that the race baiters want it to be. They're trying to, look, it's another George Floyd. We need to burn the country down for 2 more years. It's like, no. You need to stop arresting people 40 times. Once they've proven that they're nut jobs, you need to keep them incarcerated for their own protection, for the protection of society. When people go off the rails, they cannot be dumped into Gen Pop. They do not deserve to be walking amongst us. This person had been arrested 40 times. What was he doing the day that this occurred?
Dressed as the king of pop here. Jordan Neely loved to dance and perform.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Before you get into that, you know what that is right there? That's the Trayvon Martin picture when he's 7 years old. That sweet little picture that they show. Not the dude with grills on his teeth and aiming guns and flipping middle fingers, and the kid that, what was he, 6 foot? He was a large kid. They show like his little league picture. It's like, look at me when I was 7.5. It's like, oh my God, what do you? The media is such.
Well, it was
trash.
Obama too.
That's not.
Yeah, Obama. Well, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
Yes. Well, and remember now that Fugees story, where the guy in the Fugees was just convicted for, what was the story? He was taking money from Chinese nationals to funnel into the American presidential campaign or various political campaigns. Sorry, go ahead to the story there. I talked long enough, but I didn't know if you had a sentence or two to describe what happened in that article there. But yeah, they're showing an old picture of him on the train performing as Michael Jackson. It's like one of the commenters said something. He's like, yeah, he hasn't done that in whatever they said, many months or many years. More what's happening is this person's violently attacking people and threatening people, and someone he tried to push someone off the ledge to kill him, or so. There's all sorts of components to this story, but man, they're just really hoping they could turn this into a Flashpoint story again.
Oh yeah, they wanted to frame it as a white guy, like basically murdered homicide against this innocent black man on a subway, like unprovoked, and it was just total BS. So here he is, Jordan Neely. I don't know, mentally ill. Maybe he was, nice guy for a long enough time. I don't know. He's been arrested like 44 times, as it turns out.
I don't know nice guys that get arrested 44 times.
Right.
I don't.
So on this picture, it looks like maybe he's a street performer, and he's on the subway. He's trying to make a couple bucks because he's dancing, performing. Got to make some money in New York. And here he is. And this is from the New York Working Family Party to put this out. Oh, he's suffering a mental health crisis, and he was choked to death while people watched and cheered. Jordan needed care. Instead, he was brutally murdered. Now, that's where I will agree. Jordan needed care. He's mentally ill, homeless people or whatever should not be out there. And if he's been arrested 44 times, then he doesn't. This is Matt Walsh called it out. He also loved to harass, threaten, and assault people, which is why he'd been arrested 44 times. So
the cities are being failed by their leadership. Absolutely failed. I mean, our neighborhood in Los Angeles, we begged for help. Everybody that could listen, we begged for consideration and assistance. It was the same 10 idiots causing every problem for the entire neighborhood. They knew who everybody was. And it's like after 44 arrests, you said 44. Okay. So, the point of me bringing this up, number one, it's timely. Number two, it was in my stack, but I didn't get around to adding it to the list. I just rolled with what you went with. But I mean, if you're getting close to a Bud Light commercial or a beer commercial rather, where none of the people are real, like, yes, their eyes are rolled back in their heads. Nobody has pupils, and yes, they have extra fingers, and yes, everything's on fire, and it's kind of funny. And the Smash Mouth song is hilarious. How they screw it up at the end. It's so awesome. It's so funny. But like, I could imagine a subway attack video like this being completely fabricated through AI. And it's like, oh, look, we got to push a narrative. Here's a story. And it's like, nobody was there as a witness, but it just becomes part of the zeitgeist. That was the story with a lot of these, what people were calling them, false flag attacks, shootings. There's a laundry list of them. I'm not going to name any of them by individually, so I don't get sued for $1 billion, trillion, zillion dollars. Right. But I mean, every situation is worthy of conversation. And I don't think anybody has to accept any official story, whether that's, hey, you must believe that my God is the only way to get to heaven, or, my version of how things happened is the only way that must be considered. It's like, no, we still don't even have the official information on who killed John F. Kennedy. I mean, was it Lee Harvey Oswald? Was it the CIA? Was it the mafia? Was it, I mean,
maybe future generations will get that information after everybody's long gone and dead and nobody cares anymore. But yeah, they've slow walked that. They keep promising new information like every anniversary, and they just give it a little bit more, but it's never enough. It's never the smoking gun that we all want to see.
Well, didn't Tucker Carlson, didn't he come out a few months ago and just said, the CIA pretty much confirmed that they were the ones that assassinated JFK?
Yeah, he did mention that. So that's another one of the many reasons they're trying to attribute to Tucker's firing, is that he admitted that the CIA killed him. So yeah, organized that whole event and then blamed it on the patsy, little Lee Harvey Oswald, somebody that nobody would miss. So,
well, but at least we got to go to trial and hear Lee Harvey Oswald's side of the story.
Yeah, no, not exactly. They couldn't let that happen because it would contradict everything. He'd be like, "No, I had nothing to do." It would be so obvious. So they had to shoot him before he could get to trial.
And they expect us to believe their bullshit. Okay, next topic. We really are touching the guardrails today on a lot of stories that are verboten by clowns who don't like discuss. You should have to defend everything. Nobody's version of the afterlife is something you must accept without questioning, with boldness, even the existence of God. For if he does exist, he'd surely prefer reason than that of blindfolded fear. It's a great quote, and it's the truth. And so every single story, the earth is flat, dinosaurs walking on the moon, different geopolitical stuff, it should all be questioned. Everything, every day. Like, a firmament, flat earth, what? Really? Birds aren't real? Right. I guess birds aren't real now. Ancient aliens. Well, okay, that actually kind of explains some of the connect dots. I don't know if I believe it, but it connects a hell of a lot of dots for me. At least makes sense if you think about it. But yeah, we have to question everything with boldness. That's what journalism is supposed to be. So, Blake, next topic here. Do you agree or disagree that criminal charges are needed for intelligence officials that called Hunter Biden's laptop Russian disinformation.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, so they're going to be put on trial soon. They're going to be subpoenaed. It's going to be testifying here. So this is out of the Federalist. Russia hoaxers Clapper and Brennan will answer to Weaponization Committee for letter calling Hunter Biden laptop disinfo. So that should be interesting. A pair of Russiagate all-stars will testify over signing the infamous 2020 letter in which former intelligence officials claim the Hunter Biden laptop was an instrument of Kremlin disinformation. Brennan will testify next week on May 11th. Clapper will appear on May 17th. So, and I think I wanted to highlight this quote. So yeah, weeks before the 2020 election, 51 former intelligence officials signed a letter published in Politico that smeared Blockbuster Stories, sourced to an abandoned Delaware laptop, as Russian interference campaign. Emails recovered from the laptop hard drive implicate.
And by the way, let's just pause. You can pick it up right there. Pause. Pin the tail on Russia again.
Yeah.
This is yet, and how many times did the U.S. try to frame Russia for shit that they are doing over and over and over and over again? Sorry.
No,
it's a track record with these.
No,
creeps.
that's absolutely right. So they try to pin it on this enemy. All of the things that they are in fact doing. So emails recovered.
And sorry, once again, I don't love Russia. I don't give a shit. Like, I care about this country. And by proxy, once we have our borders under control, once we have our waterways and our infrastructure and some of the basic components, like, yes, I want to work with every country. I want to be cool to every country out there, but I don't care about the Kremlin or Putin or Russia in general. I only care about the truth. Like, that's just what's really happening. And if there is a war afoot, you need to declare your war. Just declare it. I don't like this, half pregnant, 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of stuff. Like, either it's happening or it's not. And it's an abomination to our eternal souls to accept that 2 + 2 = 5. It's an abomination. It's unacceptable. And that's the core of all of this bullshit. They're all proven lies. Sorry, Blake, go ahead.
Well, you know what else is unacceptable is the what was shown in the Hunter Biden laptop, and some of the emails there implicate President Joe Biden in global influence peddling schemes that appear to be at the center of Hunter's potentially criminal enterprises. So, and according to these officials, they quoted, "If we are right," they wrote, "this is Russia trying to influence how Americans vote in this election, and we believe strongly that Americans need to be aware of this." But
okay, so essentially what they're saying is you need to replace Russia with deep state. Go ahead, read that again, but change it to deep state.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. So if we are right, Brian, this is the deep state trying to influence how Americans vote in this election. And we believe strongly that Russia should be blamed. Now,
at the deep state.
At the deep state. Well, they need to be aware of this. But Americans need to be aware that the deep state was trying to cover for Hunter Biden and all of the and Joe Biden and all of the scandals that he was involved in that could have derailed his election. So this was election interference in 2020 by 51 people, including some of at the very, very top, like Clapper and Brennan, who interfered to get rid of Trump, their nemesis. And so they did this to protect him. This was a legitimate October surprise, showing how disgustingly corrupt the Biden family is, and they have no business being in the White House. It's a threat to our national security. And instead, it looks like Anthony Blinken, current Secretary of State, who was a former advisor for Biden, perhaps reached out. We don't know exactly yet. I can't see that conclusively, but it appears.
Well, I thought they have his reply saying, "Absolutely, I will meet with you."
Yeah, it does appear that he was involved in that, so I don't want to completely implicate him, but he should be questioned as well. They need to pop him up there. So there's a lot of these high-level deep state operatives that have been wanting to get rid of Trump, and they found a way. Well, they were probably going to meddle with the election anyway, but as soon as this October surprise came out, they obviously all freaked out. They don't want the public to know that, so then they tried to blame it on the Russians. And of course, Russia, Trump, they also tried to get, Trump was colluding with Russia. So, but no, this is the deep state colluding with themselves. So, trying to blame it on on a superpower. And they got rid of Trump, the people that the populist president that people liked. And
that is strange. Also, I just had a reminder here because I just pulled up the story. I always forget to tell people, follow us on Instagram. It was an Instagram post that was linked to our Facebook page that got our Facebook page deleted, but nobody ever deleted our Instagram page. So follow us on Instagram while we're still there. One of the posts that we had up, this was from, Blake, how yesterday I mentioned that we want to cover a couple topics every single time we do a show. Number one, it's what's the latest with the Trump fake indictment up there with Alvin Bragg. Number two, what's the latest on the Biden impeachment that hasn't started yet? And I've been pushing for this strongly. So I was very happy to see when this came out yesterday. This was posted on the New American Media Instagram page. Follow us, Instagram.com/The New American Media, because the old American media has failed. This is a congressional letter written May 3rd, 2023, via electronic transmission. This is addressed to the Honorable, good Lord, you can't put that word there. That man is not honorable. The dishonorable Merrick Garland, Attorney General, Department of Justice, Department of Injustice. And to the dishonorable Christopher Wray, Director of the Federal Bureau of Bullshit Investigation. Sorry. It says, Dear Attorney General Garland and Director Wray, we have received legally protected and highly credible unclassified whistleblower disclosures. Based on these disclosures, it has come to our attention that the Department of Justice, DOJ, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, possesses an unclassified FD/1023 form that describes an alleged criminal scheme involving then Vice President Biden and a foreign national, relating precise description of how the alleged criminal scheme, foreign national relating to the exchange of, I screwed that whole thing up. Involving then Vice President Biden and a foreign national relating to the exchange of money for policy decisions, quid pro quo Joe. It has been alleged that the document includes a precise description of how the alleged criminal scheme was employed, as well as its purpose. Remember, 10% for the big guy. Continuing, based on the alleged specificity within the document, it would appear that the the DOJ and the FBI have enough information to determine the truth and accuracy of the information contained within it. However, it remains unclear what steps, if any, were taken to investigate the matter. The concern about the DOJ and the FBI's track record of allowing political bias. Hang on, wait a minute. I'm skipping a sentence every third sentence from the bottom of a paragraph. That's weird. The significant public interest is assessing the FBI's response to this information, as well as growing decision-making process. Growing concern. Good Lord, I've done it again. As well as growing concern about the DOJ and FBI's.
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, thank you. The concern about the DOJ and the FBI's track record of allowing political bias to infect their decision-making process necessitate exacting congressional oversight. The DOJ and FBI appear to have valuable, verifiable information that you have failed to disclose to the American people. Therefore, Congress will proceed to conduct an independent and objective review of this matter, free from those agencies' influence. This is transparency brings accountability. Signed by Chuck Grassley, Ranking Member, Committee on the Budget, and Representative James Comer, Chairman, Committee on Oversight and Accountability. Not sure if you saw that, Blake, but I'm excited to see that the Biden impeachment is on track and moving for the first time ever. I've been calling for it for such a long time. The paper trail is a mile long. There's no reason this guy should not be hung out to dry. He did it to himself. He's a danger. He's a risk. He's a traitor. He's a turncoat. I mean, what else is there to say?
Yeah, I guess Marjorie Taylor Greene rung up the impeachment right away. And so it's just been hovering in the background, and now they're going to go after him, perhaps. So it's good to see. It's time for us, as you say, to go on offense. So to hold people
Yes,
accountable.
go on
Yes,
offense.
hold people accountable for the
Go.
border or
Let's
whatever
go, team.
business dealings that they're involved with. The American public deserves to know. And this is a danger to our country if the highest power is compromised, which it appears obvious that it is. So
Obvious.
it's time to unravel this thing and be done with it. Otherwise, yeah, we're letting criminals run the country into the ground.
Into the ground.
Kleptocracy.
Week at the border is going to be absolutely bonkers. It's going to be millions of people coming in. It's like, it sure seems like Obama through the meat puppet Biden that they really are trying to plan an invasion, trying to drag us into a world war where we're going to lose. They're setting us up for a takeover. That's what I feel in my gut. That's what I feel in my heart and my soul. He picked the name Renegade for a reason. I don't trust anything about this crew of people. They're dangerous. They're turncoats. They are no friends of this country.
Right. They want to change it into something else.
We're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. It's like, no, we don't want to we want to return to the roots, to get back to the basics here. You know, like when government was small and simple, it made more sense. This is just nuts where we are now. So, okay. Cool. Well, then that's what we have to say on this one. Yes, we agree that criminal charges are needed for the intel officials that called Hunter's laptop. It has all the earmarks, all the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation. It's like, you creeps. They are all Fauci's trying to come back and make a media tour saying he never, I never called to shut down the United States. No, I might have suggested a couple of things, but no, I know. And then you got Trudeau with legs crossed.
Yep.
I did not. No. We didn't. We encouraged people to. No, Trudeau. No. You are not rewriting history. Isn't it weird how he always does that super leg cross? It's like, don't you like? I can't do. I'm not saying I.
Wait till we see more millennials and Gen Z leaders. Yeah, it's probably going to see a trend of that kind of stuff. So who knows? No, but he was placed there. He's Fidel Castro's kid. World Economic Forum.
There are a lot of people that are calling on the United States to liberate Canada. That Canada's been taken over by a hostile foreign power.
Yep.
Like there's a Brazil. They're saying it with Bolsonaro. Yep. Bolsonaro. That was a story that was supposed to be on the top of my stack. Australia.
Bolsonaro,
yeah. They're arresting all the Bolsonaro people right now. That's a big story. It should have made our list. I didn't add it, but anyway, we can get to that later. But we have a few more stories we want to get to, so let's kind of keep chugging along. We got you for another 30 minutes or 25 minutes. We'll keep it tight. Okay, here we go. You know, it's always tricky trying to like rank the stories and then trying to work them together into smooth segues. You know, we were talking about Trudeau and his leg cross, and I was going to get to the U.S. Navy story, but no, I don't think so. And we were talking about lying legacy media, and like that'd be a good time to get to the community notes section on tweets. But I think this is a more important story. Blake, would you agree or disagree that the Federal Reserve is trying to cause an economic depression? Do you agree or disagree that the completely private banking cartel known as the Federal Reserve is trying to cause an economic depression?
I'm going to say disagree, although I don't think there's any move that they can make anymore. I think they're out of moves. And so they had to raise rates again yesterday. And another quarter of a point. They're saying they might pause, but there really is no solution. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't. It's the economic depression is going to happen no matter what. They're just kind of delaying the inevitable as long as they can, but things are really getting bad and banks are failing, and it is only going to make things worse. And then there was problems yesterday with after hours. A lot of these regional banks are crumbling, And it's only going to get worse. And commercial real estate, there's a few things. So why don't I just pull up a story that I've got here, because somebody posed this. This was Michael Snyder, Federal Reserve trying to cause a depression. So they actually did it, even though banks are collapsing, the commercial real estate market is imploding, home sales plunging, large companies laying off workers all over America. But Federal Reserve just decided to raise interest rates even higher. It's nothing less than economic malpractice. I know the higher rates are crushing the economy, but they apparently believe that more pain is needed. Yeah, they pause or they look weak. They can't lower them because they'll unravel everything. So they really only got, a couple of moves, is to raise it the minimum amount possible or pause. So, but said the most aggressive tightening campaign since the 1980s. And that the unanimous decision puts the key benchmark federal funds rate at a range of 5 to 5.25%, the highest since August 2007, which of course they say didn't work out so well, as we hit into some bad stuff in 2008, and then they released all of the quantitative easing. I'm not sure when that exactly happened, right after that. But yeah, we've got some problems going on and with all of these banks and the Federal Reserve and credit crunch and all kinds of things, as people are losing their jobs and the prices of everything is going up. So yeah, buckle up. And I think I got Apple earnings are coming out any minute now. I don't know what's going on with that. I should probably pull up Market Watch just to get the live report on what's going on. But
go ahead and pull that up real quick. I'll take a brief detour because we did mention it a second ago. There you go. Now I got the screen back.
Sure.
I did just want to update this. There's not too much to say other than the Obama-Biden regime has targeted Brazil and Bolsonaro. They freed a criminal, that Lula, and a super popular president, very very Trumpian. Was ousted in a very contentious, dubious election, you could say. But yeah, this is from yesterday, off of Reuters. Brazilian police on Wednesday raided former President Bolsonaro's home, arresting his trusted aides and seizing his cell phone. Get this, as part of a probe into his COVID-19 vaccination records. The investigation may answer questions about how Bolsonaro, a strident coronavirus skeptic who vowed never to get a COVID vaccine, was registered as vaccinated in health records made public in February. Ooh, you mean somebody made a personal medical decision for their own bodies? What happened to my body, my choice? Supreme Court documents showed federal police had found evidence of tampering with Bolsonaro's vaccine records in his last weeks as president in late December, before he flew to the United States, where most foreign visitors must be vaccinated. So they're going after Bolsonaro like they went after Trump. They went after Trump. They're like, you have documents that were classified. He's like, no, I'm the president. So like, it's nothing's unclassified. If I have it, it's not declassified. I am the only one that can do that as commander in chief. And I told you I've declassified everything. Okay. Well, why does Biden have piles of it? It seems like they only went after President Trump because they know what's sitting in the garage where Hunter has access, where the Chinese who are funding all of this, where they have access to all of this classified information. Like when Hillary had a private server in her closet as Secretary of State. So Bolsonaro confirmed the raid in his home in Brasilia to journalists and reiterated that he'd never taken a COVID vaccine, denied any role in allegedly forging documents. It's like, you have the right to bodily autonomy. I don't care what was passed in these states, or these countries rather. So anyway, it's something important to keep your eyes on, because the Bolsonaro story, it is really mirroring the Donald Trump story. You have very successful, popular presidential figures in both countries, and they were both overthrown in highly suspicious circumstances. Goodness, Blake, your background is...
I know. I think I overloaded my computer trying to pull up these extra stories, and then shut
Oh my
down.
gosh, everybody, look, it's the Wizard of Oz. The
Yeah.
emperor has no clothes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That
Got the
is funny.
notification.
Okay.
Using up too many resources. I don't know why. I got like 32 gigs of RAM here.
Well, I'll get 64. Vishnave Maharaja says, my fave newscasters. The truth is here. Love these guys. A fan for years.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. I haven't known you for years. I'll take it. I'll assume that we've been buddies for years. Yeah, we're new friends now. We're fast friends now. Anyway, Blake, you were pausing to thank you for the kind words. Please tell your friends. You were saying that you pulled up an article. You were looking up the Apple. Did that drop yet?
I'm getting these kind of
Earnings?
things. So Apple stock options are priced for a $7 move after earnings. I don't exactly know what this all means. So, and of course, these articles are shut down. I have to subscribe to hear anything more. I just know that Apple is one of the biggest companies out there, and if they have a poor earnings report, then that could really affect a lot of people. So we'll see.
They're down 1% today to 165.79 a share. What's the what's the list? They're still set to report. That was 8 hours ago. Set to report. Is Apple expected to be earnings call? I'm not seeing an update. Maybe it didn't happen yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's important to keep your eyes on because it's all connected, folks. Like you said, God, I can't get over you not having your background. This really is you are the man behind the curtain in Wizard of Oz.
So.
Right now.
Wow, I've been exposed.
But you're actually in front of the curtain.
I was not at the Kremlin. I was lying. All right.
Yeah, I would have never guessed. But that's what AI is going to do. You know, we're going to have these wartime reporters reporting from their basement.
Oh, they already have.
Like Sleepy Joe
doing that for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I love the ones where it's like, I'm out here live and the hurricane is tearing through. And it shows people just walking right behind them. Have you seen those videos where like the newscasters are faking the severity?
Several times.
Well, CNN was a fiery but mostly peaceful protest. Right. That was pretty great. So anyway, okay. So any final thoughts here on the Federal Reserve before we bounce to the next couple stories?
I'm good. Watching it all melt down.
Okay. Next topic in Meltdown news. All right, Blakenstein. Would you agree or disagree? Whoop, where did Blake go?
I'm here. I'm trying to change my background, but it won't let me.
Oh, there. I'll take you out of the room now. Now it's just me, everybody. Change your background now, tough guy. And he's back. Okay,
I don't think it's going to work, but we only got about 10 minutes left anyway, so no problem.
All right. So, Blake, would you agree or disagree that adding community notes to tweets is disrespectful to fact checkers?
I think they would agree. I love what's happening with it. This is a new feature, but seeing a lot of the fact checkers are now being called out, which is glorious because they've been dominating for way too long. So why don't I just pull up and show you guys a few examples?
And also I think the fact checkers who are repeatedly lying and misrepresenting information should be, I think they should be removed as propagandists from the site. They always talk to truth tellers like we're the propagandists and we need to get removed. It's like, no, our stuff is accurate and we have suspicions and questions about things that we don't fully believe. We're allowed to do that. You do not have the right to push your propaganda on us. Oh, but here's my question. I meant to ask you this earlier related to a previous topic, but it applies here. When Obama changed the rules where they could push propaganda in the United States, was that the Smith month? What was the propaganda 2013?
That's going back 10 years, Brian. I don't remember offhand exactly, but
well, my question is this: if this thing was enacted 10 years ago, why didn't Trump change it? Smith month, yeah. But of course, AP News is saying Obama did not sign a law allowing propaganda in the United States. So there you go. The AP is. Let's see. Obama signed legislation that changed the U.S. Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948, also known as the Smith-Mundt Act. The amendment made it possible for some materials created by the U.S. Agency for Global Media, the nation's foreign broadcasting agency, to be disseminated to the U.S. What's it say? A post circulating with Obama falsely states he repealed a ban on government propaganda in the U.S. when he signed the NDAA in 2013. The amendment did not repeal the Smith-Mundt Act, but rather lifted some restrictions on the domestic dissemination of government-funded media. Well, that's exactly what we're saying. The amendment says it did not repeal it, but it rather lifted some restrictions on the domestic dissemination of government-funded media. The change essentially erased restrictions for Americans who want to access government-funded media content, allowing media produced by the U.S. Agency for Global Media, such as the Voice of America and Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, to be made available to Americans upon request. By the way, isn't that what Tucker's dad did? He worked with Radio Free, the Voice of America.
I forgot. I saw that recently. I forgot what his role was in the media. So I think you were saying that he was like a CIA guy. I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate, but
Dick Carlson, he was literally the head of propaganda for the CIA during Reagan administration.
Really?
I'm trying to find. I'm just kind of scrolling here, but yeah, his dad worked in the Reagan administration. Radio. Anyways, something, go down the rabbit hole. But yeah, the Smith-Mundt Act. So my question is this, because we saw propaganda get worse under Obama, and I'm just curious why President Trump didn't change that when he had the chance. But they're splitting hairs there. That's like Brian Stelter saying, I never said that it was Russian disinformation. I said that it had all the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation. It's the same fucking thing, Brian Stelter. It's the same thing.
Right.
They want to play these verbal gymnastic, like, oh, look at me, I'm jumping through a hoop, whoop, I'm twirling around. You can't catch me. It's like, we caught you. It's over. Stop. Save whatever shred of dignity you have left. Give up on the lie. Sometimes you can just go, all right, okay, if I had a chance to say that again, I would change what I said. There's a way out of that, but it's not continuing to double down on your lie. Anyway, I digress. Back to community notes coming after fact checkers. Sorry for that detour, but I don't know.
All right, well, gotcha. But okay, so Elon Musk has now taken over Twitter, so now he's got the.
He did?
Well, right. So now he can change things the way he would like to, and I think that's great that he's handed it over to the community for fact checking rather than having these liberal hacks that pretend like they're somehow neutral parties being the official word, and because they should not be. They've shown many examples of how they get things wrong intentionally. So now they're getting called out and switching it, giving the power back to the people, and it's great to see. So a lot of community notes feature Elon on the platform, saying the fact-checking system is proving successful in ending censorship in guise of virtue. So,
and you know what I like about it? I've encountered this. I have been spending a little bit more time on Twitter. Make sure you follow us at American_media_. Make sure you follow Blake at TVS Blake Walley, Walley. I really like it. I scrolled past something. I can't remember several of them. And I'm like, oh, look at that. And then I scroll down, I see a community note. I go, okay, what's this? And I go, oh, okay. And then I usually, when you see a community note, do you rank it yourself? Do you rate it?
Do I? No.
Do you click on it? Yeah.
Well, yeah, now that I can, maybe I should, especially if I see, obvious BS and I want to call things out. People should have a right. We need to know what's factual or not. And we've let these crazy leftists, dominate how things were worked. And then they had, the deep state working behind the scenes. So they were colluding to control information and silence their opposition. But now they're not able to get away with it like they were. So here's an example of PolitiFact talking about the teachers union president Randy Weingarten advocating for reopening schools. Just it's a major thing, but she criticized the Trump administration's 2020 calls to reopen schools fully. But it's misleading to claim that she opposed reopening at all. And before it was just, oh, okay, well, you just have to accept that as the fact because PolitiFact said it, and what can you do? But now the community is coming out, and they're pulling up multiple examples of saying that they're wrong. So they're saying that the Weingarten's position, she called attempts to reopen schools in the fall reckless, callous, and cruel. So no, it turned out that PolitiFact was BS. So what gives them the right to say what's true and what's not?
You know what I would like to see now? I think what we need to do is we need to get a scoreboard watch. I once again, can somebody tweet this to Elon? I gave free advice to President Trump on his 2024 campaign during last show that we did, and this is advice to Elon and Twitter. I think we need a scoreboard now. So which group was that you said got the strike?
I don't know. Was it PolitiFact, you mean? Yeah.
PolitiFact. Yeah. Like I said, I think there needs to be a scoreboard. We need to say they got one hard strike for a blatant attempt to mislead the public. I think they should get strike counts.
Yeah.
Like these are obviously verifiably incorrect things that they're pushing as fact. I think we need like big red X's and it's like a tally mark. Okay. They've had 17 cases where they're lying to you. Okay. Whatever they seem to put out seems to be a lie. But I think you leave that stuff up and you leave the community note on it. It's very similar to Pete Rose. Should Pete Rose be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, Blake?
Yes.
With an asterisk?
Sure.
There you go. You keep the tweet, you place the asterisk. And that asterisk is the scorecard. The community notes is like, it's an alert. It's a magnifying glass saying, hold on, there's more to this here. You're not, that's cool. But I think now we need like the all-time running strike balls and strikes. I think we need that count on there somehow verifiable. Because when I see something online and it has the community notes, by the way, earlier I wasn't saying that we are putting community notes in. Don't you have to be approved to do that? I'm not sure how the process works, but what I was referring to is when there is a community note, it says, did you find this helpful? I always click that. And sometimes I'm like, no, it kind of didn't really change the context of it. It wasn't really necessary. Sometimes I'm like, yes, it was slightly helpful. You know, it was helpful for this reason. It was clear, easy to understand. It addressed the main claim of the tweet. That's helpful, but it didn't really move, you know. So like, I like agreeing and disagreeing and like kind of helping the algorithm along, I suppose. I really do enjoy that feature. But are there any who is saying that it's disrespectful to come after the fact checkers? Who, like,
me.
Where is that coming
from me. You want me to write these questions, agree or disagree? So that's where it came from. Is it bad?
Okay,
no,
so there aren't any fact checking.
No,
so there aren't any fact checking organizations that are getting pissed and giving Twitter grief per se.
I'm sure they're freaking out about it because they can't control information like they used to. I remember Mehdi Hassan, who's been in the news a bit, is freaking out about that as well. Or if it was Ari Melber, I think it was, didn't want power going back to the people to call these things out. I forget all the context of all of it, but these mainstream journalists have had it way too good for too long, and it's about time they get called out. Hey, we get fact checked. It goes both ways. And I don't care. It's not about being right, or that I want to confirm that I'm right. I just want the reality to stick out. I'm okay with being
accuracy.
Wrong.
Just whatever's accurate. Yeah, and don't erase it when it's. What I was starting to say was when there's community notes, I don't want that erased from history. Leave it there and just put the asterisk. Put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame and put the asterisk. Put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame, but put the asterisk. What happened on the field happened on the field. You can't undo it. They were some of the best that have ever played, but there's a big glowing asterisk. And if you're going to get in, you're in with a caveat, and the caveat is what it is. So I firmly believe in not deleting misinformation so much as highlighting it. I think if you're identified as a consistent shill who's only producing obviously verifiably incorrect information, I think you do start to forfeit your right to kind of continue on that. But there's a difference between opinion and fact. We can disagree on favorite ice cream flavors, but the fact that ice cream exists is not debatable. But if someone's saying, there is no such thing as ice cream, it's like, well, at some point, you're not going to be welcome on the platform. Because like we're just trying to find verifiable truth. I think that's the gist of it. Any more thoughts on this one? We got two more, maybe 1 minute apiece.
Right. Well, yes, I would like to see them expand on this, and that would be great if they could do some kind of a, keep track of the data and who's wrong and who's not. It goes beyond Weingarten. It's this guy that was criminal that was killed in New York. It's also with Biden getting fact check again about as America's never failed to pay back our debt. MAGA Republicans are engaged in reckless hostage taking by threatening to force America into default. And then the readers pulled up the context. The United States has defaulted on its debt multiple times. So that's also good. And you've mentioned this. This is Jean-Pierre, the press secretary, saying that with illegal migration, you've seen it come down by more than 90%, which was shocking.
90%.
And it turns out, that we've added context here. That
Ducey, where did you get that information? Can you stop? What did she say? Stop being hyperbolic?
Yeah, something like that. Right.
Anyway,
So when Ducey called her out,
dramatic,
being dramatic. But then now they're pointing out, yes, in 2022 we had 2.76 million border crossings, more than doubling the previous record, and that March 2023 saw a 25% increase in border crossings. So she got called out, and she was wrong. Also another one with Rashida Tlaib, one of the squad members, pointing stuff out. We won't get into too much, but also Chelsea Clinton calling things out. So there's a few things. We won't get into too much detail. Yes, we've got to run. I got 5 minutes. But yes, interesting swing of things, I suppose, in the fact-checking world. So where are we at now, Brian? Two more stories.
Well, we're at where my father is trying to figure out how to get into the show. He said
I'll go.
link didn't
Let's
work, so
make this quick. I'll just let me just run through a couple things, and then I will leave you guys, and you have to do your thing. So here it is.
Yes. Whoop, hold on.
Okay, so here's what you were just saying. The Biden press secretary tells reporter to stop being dramatic after he fact checks her. Then there is a little fake story talking about Biden deploying 1,500 troops at the border. Oh, yeah, to help register new voters, which wouldn't be surprising. However, this is satire, but that they want to bring in those immigrants and give them all voting cards and have them all vote Democrats in the next election, of course. And let's see what else. This is one of the things that was mentioned on the Elon. This is where Chelsea Clinton was getting called out. So California Democrats are pushing bill to mandate gender diversity books in schools. Let's see if I can get the right tab on here. Democrats are pushing legislation that would force every school in the state to stock books in their libraries centered around LGBTQ themes and people of all gender expressions, which is, obviously alarming for many conservatives. And they're trying to act like they're trying to burn books. And it's really not. It's just trying to keep some of these books that are very graphic, sexualized in nature away from kids. Not burning books, but just having some reasonable decency. But we'll get into that one. Yeah, they don't need to share these pictures and things that are in there.
Oh, I don't want you.
Well, they're blurred out. But gross. This is it book burning or is it decency for protecting kids that don't need? They can find this stuff online. It's not like when we were kids, Brian, and there was no internet and you weren't exposed to such things. But if people really want to find this stuff, maybe they can wait till high school to find these books, or they can go to the library themselves, or find this type of information, which I'm sure is plentifully available online if they need to know that stuff. And then what else? We really didn't get into this. U.S. Navy enlisting a drag queen for digital ambassador role to attract more recruits. It's pretty sad stuff. I don't know if this is going to work, and it's really embarrassing America in front of the world. I'm not sure if that's going to. There's some disturbing facts. Another factor is the mindset of the average leftist philosophy that lends itself to weakness, entitlement, and often mental illness, making training goals difficult to impossible. Apparently, over 42% of Gen Z has been diagnosed with at least one mental health condition, and we're going to have using pronouns. The woke military is just begging to be destroyed in about 10 years by another society, just to put us out of our misery. I would think it's pretty embarrassing state of affairs. I don't know. So things have changed. It's not the same recruitment videos that we were accustomed to. I almost went into the Army Reserves. I got DQ'd, but it wasn't because I had a drag queen performer trying to recruit us in. It's very different. But they're just weakening everything America. It's sad to see. But I've got to run. Looks like Bob is about to be in, and you guys can begin your next show. I don't know if you got to reset this, and I don't know if you want to be in this particular studio, but we'll hit a hard reset. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Great times. And we'll catch you next week. All right. Take care, guys. I'm out.
See you, Blake. Thank you again. Follow him on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley. I think we're going to keep it as one segment and chop it in post-production. I see him there. We could bring him in. Let's see if there he is. Wow, you're looking angelic with that. You're looking angelic, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Living the dream. Thank you very much. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much.
Good.
I got my buddy.
You can talk a little louder.
On.
Yes, if you could talk a little louder. Buddy Holly glasses. All right, nice.
It looks like
I was telling Blake yesterday how I identify as trans. Like I've always felt like I should I would look good in glasses. I don't know if you remember in high school I wore some fake glasses for a little bit. I'm like, that's an interesting look.
You wore a do-rag too. That was an interesting look.
I did wear a do-rag. A lot. I sweat a lot. I played a lot of basketball and kept it out of my face, mainly. All right, cool. Well, I mean, we're just making a smooth transition here. I guess this would be a nice chance to say hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode. What is this? I don't even know what TNAM music. We're covering the music world. We're wrapping up a episode of the Agree to Disagree show with Blake Walley. Special thanks to him. Follow him on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley, Walley. And yeah, that's good. So Bob Engelman, this is my father here. And we discuss music and we talk about, we did a show recently. There you go. Dim that light a little. That's angelic.
Dim the lights.
There you go.
The haze. You can guess the rest.
Yes.
Too light. Yeah.
We did a show. Probably if you go back to our Rumble account, and I'm trying to get Bob to get onto Rumble. And if you go to the very first episode, it was he and I, Dad and I, discussing the bands that were nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we did that show, and a couple months later, here we are. They have made their decision. I guess this would be a good time, Dad, to mention the caveat that, here, let me get this off the screen. I don't need this. We're not talking about U.S. Navy using drag queens to draw recruits, are we?
I researched it.
Different subject. But I guess, yeah, we have to make the disclaimer that maybe you could start there. I guess it's the ongoing question of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame versus is it a music, career highlight Hall of Fame? There's a lot of musicians who are getting in that are not necessarily rock and roll, but they've made a strong contribution to music in general. Can you recap that for us? Kind of like what they said the hall was originally going to be and what it's turned into and how we process this?
I went online and clicked on it to pick off the people that were inducted. And whatever site this was, it was somebody reporting this. And they said, Over the last decade, the Hall's definitions of rock and roll have widened considerably to incorporate artists working within the legacy of rhythm and blues, country and gospel, sometimes to the befuddlement or chagrin of artists who protest their own inclusion. So even people that are inducted, a lot of them don't agree they should be in there, and they don't understand why.
And one of those, when you click on that hyperlink at this, I believe you're reading off of the NPR story that I'm looking at. And yeah, Dolly Parton will stay on this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominee list. The Hall of Fame, it's declining Dolly Parton's request to bow out. She posted a statement saying that while she's grateful to be nominated, she didn't think she had necessarily earned that right. I really do not want votes to be split because of me, so I must respectfully bow out. I do hope the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will understand and be willing to consider me again if I'm ever worthy. So yeah, it's, you know, it's the situation that we find ourselves in. It's the Rock Hall, but they let in other music, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, and like, you know, there's people that have been nominated and, you know, numerous times. Rage Against the Machine 4 times. And it's like Missy Elliott, George Michael, Sheryl Crow, and Nelson. Who's Nelson?
Willie Nelson and
Willie
the
Nelson.
Spinners.
Inducted their first ballot. Inducted in their first ballot. It's like, you know.
Yeah, and nobody can argue that Willie Nelson is he's one of the most identifiable musicians of the modern era. You know, he's got a career that spans decades and decades. And like, he definitely earns a Lifetime Achievement Award, but is it really a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy career? But, you know, country rock, you know. Anyway, so I guess we're going to try to put a little bit of that specific criticism of, is this a rock act and is this not a rock act, for the purposes of just kind of discussing the artists and their merit in general. Maybe we'll put some of that on the side, if you will. But yeah, I guess maybe we could break these down artist by artist. I don't know who you want to start with here.
Well, Willie Nelson is a country act. I mean, he's written hit songs for other performers. They were all country performers. And he's appeared with rock guys and all that right along, but he's a country artist. You know, Kenny Rogers was inducted into the Country Hall of Fame. You know, so if they're going to let anybody in, you know, and they're going to scrutinize country artists, of course he'd be in there. But you're going to let George Jones in and Johnny Paycheck, and you know, he wrote "Take This Job and Shove It." That's enough to be remembered by.
There's nothing more rock and roll than sticking it to the man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whatever. You know, they're going to do what they're going to do. Willie Nelson is like 176 years old, I think, this year.
He was born April 29th, Go ahead, guess the year. Don't look on screen. Guess the year.
Oh, I saw it. 33.
Yeah, he's 90 years old. Yikes.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a career.
Well, they might as well induct Maharishi Mahesh Yogi if he's still alive, because the Beatles and Donovan hung out with him. And he's probably 105.
There you go.
You know, I mean, he was an influence, like good, bad, or ugly, you know. I don't know. Anyhow. Moving on. The Spinners.
Oh, by the way, before we get to the Spinners, we have a guest in here that was a holdover listening to our Agree to Disagree show. Vishnave Maharaja says, I am a musician. I've played and known some of the best. I knew George Harrison. Okay, the only music that I listen to now is reggae bhajan, and reggae music. And he says, Bob, you did good with Brian. Thanks. They were commenting that they enjoy our show. Bahajan.
Oh.
Okay, spelling mistake. So kudos to you, Bob, from Vishnave Maharaja, about creating me.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Very, very kind. Very nice words. So over to what? I guess is that all we want to say about Willie Nelson and move on to the Spinners?
Yeah, I mean, talent as a songwriter, performer, longevity, attendance, overall attendance record through his career, record sales. He meets all those requirements. He's just not a rock and roll guy.
So when you think of Willie Nelson, what songs?
He plays Trigger, an acoustic guitar, the same guitar he's played for the last 70 years or whatever, 60, 70 years. I mean, he's not going to get on and jam with Steve Vai or Joe Satriani or Johnny Lang.
He's not that kind of player.
No, they're rock players.
So
let's move on from Willie.
Well, but before we move on from Willie real quick, and then we will. When I say Willie Nelson, what song comes to mind? Like, what do you think of? Because rock artists, if you make the Hall of Fame, you should have like a moment, like you should have a song that comes to mind instantly.
On the Road Again, probably.
Okay. Yeah, that was Honeysuckle Rose off of that album in 1980. There's also, I like that song Always on My Mind. It's a nice song.
Yeah, that song has been done by every female artist. It's been done so many times.
Mm-hmm.
It's
right.
It's one of those you're tired of hearing it.
Okay.
And you don't tap your feet to it or bang out the drum portion of the song when you hear it. I know that for a fact.
Okay,
But you can exercise changing the channel or turning the volume down.
Okay.
Always on my mind.
There you go. Sing it. All right, so that's Willie Nelson. Who else we got? We're moving on to the Spinners, yeah?
Yeah, I guess.
They made it. They're accepted.
Yeah, they had induct Rockefeller, too. I mean, the Spinners, they're not in the category of the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Marvelettes, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. They had continuous hits over 20, 40, 50 years. Yeah.
And we put a couple of those up on the screen. I'll Be Around, The Rubber Band Man, Working My Way Back to You, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love, Then Came You, Cupid, One of a Kind, Love Affair, Mighty Love. So they're in.
There's 7 songs that you may have heard before.
7.
But, the Spinners were more of a supporting act to people like the big guys, like the Temptations or something, maybe even Rick James, I don't know. But, they slipped their songs in amongst other songs, how many number 1 songs? I don't know. Any?
Well, it says
number 1.
It says that their first hit was. We're talking over each other, so I apologize. But to answer your question, it says the first hit was "That's What Girls Are Made For." It says their biggest hit was "It's a Shame," and Then Came You with Dionne Warwick, and their biggest album was Second Time Around and Pick of the Lid. Okay, so yeah, their biggest hit. What hit songs? Yep. One of a. Okay, yeah. So the ones I referenced. So you think this is justified? But you said they were a supporting act. So like, do you think they're getting a little extra credit here?
I don't remember them ever getting top billing, like on a Motown review show or something else.
Well, to be okay. Well, let's think of sports if we can. When Scottie Pippen left the Bulls, he had top billing on the Portland Trailblazers. When Michael Jordan, air quote, retired, Pippen had top billing on the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan, he had top billing. So, these are NBA Hall of Famers, of course. But Dennis Rodman is also a Hall of Famer. He never had top billing. In fact, most of all he did was get rebounds. He played defense and he got rebounds. He wasn't a complete player, but he was a Hall of Fame player. Is that a fair comparison there to the Spinners?
In one respect.
Okay.
But if you asked any of the big name musicians over the last 20 years, what was your big music influences? And if they say Motown, they say, you would ask them, like who? They would not name the Spinners. I mean, nobody that I've interviewed people for 35 years. And,
Yes, Bob, ever the professional.
Yeah.
Phone's ringing during the middle of the show. You could hit mute. You're going to let it ring itself out?
I was keeping it handy for you.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Ah, that's so sweet.
But anyway, the Spinners, nobody's going to say Gladys Knight and the Pips influenced me. That's why I became a professional musician. A Spinners album is probably worth $5 at a record show in mint condition.
They just were never that popular.
No,
like Joe Biden.
And those songs came out pretty far apart. And like if you're talking rock and roll, I interviewed Eric Burden one time. Funniest guy you want to talk to. But for like a 5-6 year period, in the spring, summer, fall, there was always an Animals great song. It was a hit song that came out, and you were always looking forward to what are they coming out with next, and they come out with another one and another one and another one. And it's like the Spinners. It's like, can I change the channel? I'm not gaining anything from listening to that song again. The Animals is like, I want to hear that bass part again. I want to hear Chaz Chandler on that bass before he went to manage Hendrix. I want to hear Alan Price on the keyboards. I want to hear Eric Burden doing the soulful version. If you asked Eric Burden, I'd have to go back and look at my interview, but I know he didn't name the Spinners as an influence, and he was a big Motown guy, And then when he lived in L.A., he recorded with War, and I said, "Why'd you record with War?" And he said, "Well, they needed a singer." And I said, "I guess that's a good reason." But they spilled the wine, and they were a big draw.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Spinners get in there, so be it.
You're just surprised. You're just surprised. You never saw them as a heavyweight.
No, and I love Motown. I grew up on Motown. And James Brown. I learned all the drum licks from Clyde Stubblefield. And it's like the guitar parts. It's like certain people do it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the Spinners never quite did it for you.
No, and it's like on Facebook, they have Mark Farner pages and stuff, and they show all the old things, and they're saying, there wasn't any better live band, period, regardless of who else was playing.
Then Grand Funk Railroad, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, the 4 guys in the band, I mean, they were as good or better than anybody that was touring.
Mm-hmm.
And all their album songs, the great album stuff, never got top 40 airplay because it was on underground radio like WMMS that played albums, But anyway, I don't want to sidetrack.
Okay. Well,
getting to Kate Bush.
Kate Bush, yes, Kate Bush.
Yeah.
All right.
I think she's like in her 70s now, isn't she?
I'm looking her up now.
Name your favorite Kate Bush song.
Well, I mean, she has one song. Right? I'm running up that hill. I'm running up that hill. Like, yeah, that's the running up the hill. A deal with God. And if I could make a deal with God.
She experienced a resurgence last year to break a 40-year-old track into the top 10 of Billboard.
Yeah.
I never recall. I know the name. I mean, she's an English pop singer, 70s pop singer. I never remember hearing any song by her on any radio station ever.
Yeah, it has a lot of her
I know
top
the
songs
name.
being from 1978 to 1988, roughly.
No, well, the 70s were Led Zeppelin, Grand Funk, Jimi Hendrix, Buffalo Springfield, Crosby, Still, which became Crosby, Stills and Nash. I mean,
AC/DC, Zeppelin, Aerosmith. You know,
yeah, not Kate Bush. It's like,
I guess maybe
you
I'm
know,
combining 70s with early 80s there with some of those, but yeah, Megadeth, Metallica. Like you think rock and roll, like there's something you generally tend to think of. It's not I'm
yeah,
running up that hill, I'm running up that hill. Like it's that's not really rock. Once again, I hate to keep coming back to this because it's so easy to, but I don't
I
know.
think,
She's got songs: "Army Dreamers," "Breathing," "Wow." What is this? "The Man with the Child in His Eyes," "Wuthering Heights," "Babushka," "This Woman's Work," and "Running Up That Hill." And the "Running Up That Hill" song, I like that song. I think it's a cool song. I do enjoy it.
well,
Is that
I
enough to
think
make it the Hall of Fame? I don't
I think she should be nominated into the Mall Music Hall of Fame, where they, where they play the annoying music when you're walking through the mall or you're in a store. And you ask the people working there, how'd you put up with this music? And they say, I'm ready to blow my brains out. Almost, almost like in 40-Year-Old Virgin with the Michael Bolton thing, you know. And who else was it?
No. It was
Michael McDonald.
Michael McDonald. Yeah. Yeah. The other one was
And
Michael
I
Bolton
like
from Office
McDonald,
Space. Go ahead.
and I like Michael McDonald, but I can't take it anymore.
The other one was Michael Bolton. I celebrate his entire catalog. Why don't you just change your name? Why should I change my name? He's the one that sucks. Yeah, that's so funny. Let's see.
Yeah.
Vishnave is saying, "The House of the Rising Sun, War." So you were there too, Dad? Question mark. What do you say? I would have been famous, but a spiritual master got to me, and I went to India. Rock and roll. So yeah, he went to India. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Did like the Beatles did that too, right? They did like their yeah.
Yeah.
You referenced that earlier. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny where life takes us. The people that could have been rock stars. So okay, you're going to induct Kate Bush into the Mall Music Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
I agree with you.
All right.
Yeah.
Who you want to do next?
Missy Elliott.
Missy Elliott. All right, cool. So, what say you on Missy Elliott? I don't know. I mean,
she's had a long, extensive career over like 6 albums in 9 years. That is not rock and roll to me whatsoever. In any way you can disguise it. In the first year ballot, wow, you know, it says something for the Rock Hall.
Let's go through the Live 365 top 10 songs from Missy. Oh, let me grab the screen grab here. 1 second. Stay on the page. Hold on. Let me click this button. So you're saying it kind of it says something about the Rock Hall that someone who never did a rock song in her entire life gets in on a first ballot, but meanwhile Grand Funk Railroad is sitting on the outside.
Yeah, to the befuddlement and chagrin of artists who protest their own inclusion.
Yes, like Dolly Parton. So number 10, Hot Boys featuring Nas, Eve, and Lil Mo. I don't know that song. I always liked her videos. She's she's a visual revolutionary. Let's see, For My People with Eve, Beep Me 911 featuring 702 and Magoo. I mean, none of this is
those
rock.
guys should be in the Rock Hall.
Yeah, they should be in there. Magoo especially.
Yeah.
1 Minute Man featuring Ludacris. Okay. Gossip Folks featuring Ludacris. So like everything she does is intro, Past That Dutch. What else? These are not her top songs. Lose Control. Okay, Lose Control is good. Work It. Yeah, Work It is kind of rapping. Yeah, she's rapping in reverse using the word badonkadonk. Nice. Well played. I mean, it sounds like rock and roll to me. Yeah, so Work It's pretty good. The Rain, Super Duper Fly. I don't really know that song. Oh, I remember this video more than I remember. If I press play, let's see if it's going to give me an ad. Or is it going to... I'm going to mute it. Oh, it's going to jump right into it. Here we go. Let's jump right into the track. If I know this one. I probably know this one. No, I don't. I don't recognize this track. This is our second.
You sure that's not Queen Latifah and Drag? That's what it looks
I'm
like.
not even going to thank you very much. But yeah, this one, Get Your Freak On. It's a... Okay, good. Tell me if you recognize this song just from the beginning. Now, I know this isn't really your genre of music, but I feel like it's a identifiable track. At least the sound of it. Tell me if any of this sounds... See, and if you look... Okay. Have you ever heard this? Vaguely familiar or no?
Yeah, they play that on sports programs.
Get your freak on. But yeah, if we let this play, you can kind of see just they're visually interesting. They're very visually interesting. Like I said, her music, I could take it or leave it. Maybe a track or two are pretty cool that I do kind of enjoy. But yeah, I think like producing music videos, I think she was more, maybe even more prolific at that. Maybe she excelled more at producing music videos than producing music. But yeah, so I mean, you're saying this just shows you the people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, putting her in on a first ballot and leaving some obvious people on the sidelines it's just a head scratcher, right?
I didn't see her rocking out with a guitar and jumping down in the audience and playing the guitar over her head like Zakk Wylde. I didn't catch any of that in the videos.
That's a great question. Yeah, how many videos show Missy Elliott rocking out with her guitar or playing the drums? I think 0. I could be wrong, but I think 0.
I think you're right.
By the way, more kudos from Vishnave Maharaja saying, "Where have you been hiding this classic person? What a treat." They're enjoying your commentary today, so thank you again. And then MJ Sedona, what's up, Jocelyn?
I only speak the truth. I only speak the truth as we know it on this planet.
Facts. And MJ Sedona Jocelyn, she's saying, "Hi, Brian. Darn, missed most of the show. Planting my garden." Yes. Bob has been planting his garden. Do you want to tell MJ Sedona about that? Jocelyn, you have a garden this year?
Who, me?
Yeah, you tell me about it every time we talk.
Well, I've been meaning to learn how to grow the secret ingredient, ganja. If you ever watched the Friday show.
No. Oh, yeah, you've told me about that Friday show with the ganja.
That was the Rastafarian chef. Yeah. That was a secret ingredient in every recipe.
The Rastafarian chef. Yeah, I got to watch it. I haven't seen that. But yeah, I was what I was trying to reference, and he's totally missing the. I tossed him an alley-oop and he dropped it. The pumpkin. I advised him to toss his pumpkins into the corner of the yard and let them rot upon themselves, and then he will get a pumpkin bounty later this year. So yeah, we're not too much action yet, but we got many months between now and October, so we have time. And Jocelyn is saying she has a big garden started. She thinks ganja is a good item for trade during the coming economic apocalypse. Yes. Yeah. I mean,
Elon Musk told me that yesterday.
Elon Musk, yeah. You guys were you doing the mind meld or just on your daily call?
Like this,
yeah. You got your coffee with Elon, chat?
Yeah, we did the Mac the Knife, the Shark, Steve Martin.
Baby Shark, do.
The handshake, we did
it. Okay, so moving on past Missy Elliott, who else we got? Who do you want to get to next?
George Michael.
George Michael, okay. Where do you land on George Michael entering the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year for 2023?
Well, Wham had 2 or 3 hits.
Okay, and he was in Wham. He ran Wham.
I mean, he had a number of hits.
Such
I'm
a
not sure how many of them he wrote.
okay.
He was a singer rather than a musician.
Careless Whisper is a great track.
He sang at the Queen tribute thing. You know,
Of course.
I mean, he was a good entertainer. He was a good frontman. Rock and roll, kind of borderline. Pop, yes, you know, pop music, rock and roll.
By the way, fun fact, over at Christmas, I don't know if I told you this, but your granddaughter, we were hanging out and opening Christmas gifts. Yeah, you weren't there, so I don't remember if I told you this, but so it was a Christmas montage, a collage of songs that were just kind of playing, streaming through an iPod or whatever, however they had it set up. And this song came up multiple times, and every time she would go, ah, and she would run over and press the button to get past the song. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day, you gave it away. She hates that song. It was so funny, but that was one of the George Michael top songs here, along with Faith. You know, and it's so interesting that Faith was covered by Limp Bizkit really well, and Careless Whisper was covered by, what was that, Seether? I think it was Seether, and it's a great cover. You know, so I mean, I think we talked about this a couple months ago during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination announcement. That I think it talks about legacy of the songs that these people performed. If a new generation could adopt the same track, just kind of packaged with a different band, like I think that's the telltale sign of hit making, you know, of writing timeless songs. And I think he checks the box. If nothing other than that, these are massive songs. Faith and Careless Whisper. I mean, great songs.
Somebody said the Javelina got my pumpkins. Darn it, I have to put a fence up now. I was going to say, Papa Shango said he wore a buffalo too. He became the godfather in professional wrestling.
Okay.
Papa Shango.
Oh, now
he wore a buffalo.
Papa Shango. So it looks like Careless Whisper was covered by Postmodern Jukebox in 2014. Have you ever seen Postmodern Jukebox, Dad?
No.
They are awesome. I recommend you go see them when they come to town. They do contemporary songs like as a jazz band. They do them in like a 1920s speakeasy style, stand-up bass and piano and all these backup singers. It's like 50s doo-wop. They take songs that you know and they do it so cool. But yeah, I actually want to listen to that. I'd never seen that before. But then Wham songs, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. I mean, that's a pretty popular song. And yes, it was Seether who did the great Careless Whisper cover. Almost better than the original. Probably better than the original in both cases. I like Faith as well. When Limp Bizkit covered that, it blew me away. That was such a powerful, strange, unexpected cover, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit. So, yeah, the Javelina, Mr. Javelina, Mr. Bob Javelina. Anyway, okay, so are you okay with? Are you most okay with George Michael getting in on this one? Like reluctantly, he's a pop star, but
reluctantly, yeah.
Okay, I could understand.
I mean, they're running out of original people that should be in there.
Yeah,
they've continually overlooked some people, but a lot of them have gotten in. Like how long it took the Ventures to get in. I mean, I was involved with that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were not only were they influenced, 250 albums they had out over a 60-year career. I mean, come on. You have to debate that. I mean, they toured Japan like 45 times. I mean, the Grand Funk Railroad, you know, they still hold attendance records around the world. I mean, you know, and every album was gold or platinum. You know, it's like, what's the problem? But anyway, getting past that, Sheryl Crow, the next one.
Yeah, before we get to Sheryl Crow, I just wanted to let me see if I can toss this out here for you. Let me just pull it up for a second. Hopefully, I don't play enough so we get dinged with copyright. That's the damn problem here. It's like I just told Blake on the Agree to Disagree show. I'm like, it's so stupid the way they do these copyright things. It's like it's not like I'm taking your track and downloading it and ripping a file and trying to sell your album through my site. I'm just trying to reference it while we're talking about something. And like fair use says that as we're commenting on things, we are allowed to play it, but it doesn't mean that they're going to honor that. Okay, am I showing the screen now? Did this pop up? Can you see?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Let me where's that? I gotta turn the sound on. A little bit of a lag here. Oh, anyway, that's awesome. I can't wait to watch that whole song. Yeah, 1930s jazz style with Dave Koz. Yeah, that's pretty neat. I definitely like that. Sorry. Anyway, you wanted to move on to Sheryl Crow. Yeah, Sheryl Crow.
In my opinion, it's more background music than it is rock and roll. I guess it's rock and roll. And she probably had the most exposure over the last 15 years than any other female singer, rock genre singer. So kind of like in the George Michael category as far as I'm concerned.
Mall Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't see people running out in the Guitar Center and buying a guitar because they heard Sheryl Crow do a photograph of Kid Rock. You know,
picture,
same thing.
Photo with Kid Rock. Yeah, so she did Picture with Kid Rock. I love that song. That's a nice song.
I never liked that. I almost told him that the last time I was talking to him.
Hey Bob, I'm not a fan of Picture.
I came this close saying, what the hell was that all about?
I was off to drink you away.
Yeah, I mean, structurally, it's about as simple of a song as you can write.
Yeah, but I mean, there's only so many chords: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's no H. You know, I mean, like, there's only so many songs that can be written. That's why I love some of these frivolous lawsuits. Like, oh, you stole my song. Wow, you used A, G, and E. Pfft, you must have stolen it. But I think a change would do you good. Okay, I know that song. And then Strong Enough. Are you strong enough to be my man? Yeah, okay, I remember that one. My Favorite Mistake. I like that song. For what it is. I've never bought it. I don't jam out to it, but it's okay. Home, If It Makes You Happy. There's that song. Soak Up the Sun. Every Day is a Winding Road. The First Cut is the Deepest. These are all songs I recognize. These are all, these are.
Well, the first Cut is the Deepest is a Cat Stevens song that Rod Stewart had the biggest hit with, So it's a cover of a cover.
Okay, so we can cross that one off then.
It's not original. Yeah, Soak Up the Sun and Every Day's a Winding Road. Those are ones you hope you have the earplugs, not the ones that the Army had that didn't work. You hope you have workable ones when that comes out.
Wow. Who would have thought that this simple music conversation was going to turn into a smackdown on 3M?
Well,
leave it to an Engelman to work something political in.
I mean, those are songs that you can see grade school kids singing. To me, that's not rock and roll.
It's not, but if you're talking about the best lady rock of the past 50 years, I mean, it's some of the best lady rock we've had. It's not Heart. It's not Heart doing Barracuda. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it's okay, right? Like,
yeah, I guess
it sold a lot of albums. It got a lot of play. It's more pop rock. It's more, like you said, Mall Music Hall of Fame again.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vishnave said that's definitely cool stuff. 1930s jazz. Oh yeah, man, the real Yeah, go on YouTube, go on Rumble actually, because YouTube sucks, and do a search on postmodern jukebox. Go to the Haley Reinhart. Find the Haley Reinhart stuff. Oh, is she good? Do you know who Haley Reinhart is, Dad? The vocalist, the singer?
No.
She does a version of Creep with Postmodern Jukebox. It's so good. I was actually in Hollywood at we were dining at Dan Aykroyd's private table, is how it turned out, and we had dinner there. And from the other room, just what I was hearing was blowing me away. We were up at the House of Blues, and I was just like, "What in the world is this?" Got up, walked around to and it was Haley Reinhart performing on stage. I think with the same bass player from Postmodern Jukebox, Casey something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my Lord, were they good? I had to talk to her afterward and just like you roped me in with your beautiful siren song. That was awesome. I didn't really know that she was super popular and didn't need my words of affirmation, but I didn't care. I was blown away by it, and I should tell her I appreciate it. But yeah, do a deep dive, Vishnave. Do a deep dive onto Postmodern Jukebox. I saw them live in Los Angeles on a New Year's Eve one time, and it was incredible. So yeah, and Dad, I would tell you that there is fun a show, maybe not as dramatic, obviously, as Trans-Siberian Orchestra, but if you were looking for a good night out to sit down in a theater, get some seats, and just take in a show, I bet you'd have a good time at it. File that away for useful suggestions from your boy.
All right.
Okay, so moving on from Sheryl Crow.
Rage Against the Machine, we talked about them before,
Yes, we have. I mean, they were one of the biggest rock bands in the 90s, for sure. Into the 2000s. So for the people that didn't catch the first show, what's your thought on Rage?
Well, they were a popular band. They didn't really have hit songs that I'm familiar with. I mean, there was stuff that was played, but they weren't, legacy songs or songs that you're going to hear for the next 20 years.
Yeah, some of these are okay. I'm trying to. Okay, 25 best Rage songs. I didn't like the list that they were giving me here. Yeah, but Killing in the Name of is. I mean, if you ever want to get fired up and like this is like the most rock band on here. It's nice to get a rock band that deserves it. Let me scroll through some of the best. This website. So one of the songs, "How I Could Just Kill a Man," Cypress Hill's first single. So they kind of cover that one. Maggie's Farm. Yeah, I don't know. That song's all right.
War with the Dylan song.
Covering the Dylan. Yeah, they did a whole album of covers, I believe. Hang on, let me see if it's well. Yeah, it was a whole album covers, which I respect. I really like that. Some people want to look down on, when a band covers a song. It's like, that's how every musician grew up learning to play music. Is you gotta learn what you like, and then when you do it, put your own twist on it and put a version of it out. Like, there's nothing more fun than a great cover, in my mind. Calm Like a Bomb.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
You have to have a good back catalog of your own stuff in order to do covers. And a lot of the covers I like better than the originals, and a lot of them I think the covers suck. Ghost of Tom Joad, that's a Springsteen song.
Yeah, Ghost of Tom Joad. Yeah, they did the Evil Empire Sessions. What was? Oh no, thank you for the pop-up ad. But get off my page, please. Ooh, these websites with their pop-ups.
I mean, the Ramones did great cover versions, but they weren't known for that. They were known for their hit songs.
Hey, did you know that Tom Morello, the guitar player from Rage Against the Machine, became a temporary E Street band member in 2014 when Steve Van Zandt had to miss a tour to film his show Lilyhammer?
No.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. And Morello, he's got a style. I heard somebody kind of saying, Tom Morello, if nothing else, teaches you find a unique sound and stick with it your entire career. He's got like that wah pedal thing, and he's got that. I don't even know how you. He's very unique. There is no mistaking a Tom Morello song. Now, "Wake Up" is a great song here. It fits in the final scene of The Matrix. How long? Not long, because what you reap is what you sow. That's an awesome song, "Wake Up." And yeah, perfect for The Matrix. Man, this site is so slow. "Year of the Boomerang." What else do they got? "Sleep Now in the Fire." That might be one of the more popular songs. "Sleep Now in the Fire." And all these songs are playing in my head, but I don't really want to mess with the cat. I apologize to y'all. But I'm trying to scroll to some of their top ones. "Viet Now." Okay, it's whatever. The Evil Empire album was okay. "Bullet in the Head." That's a pretty powerful song from 1992. What else? "Down Rodeo." I'm rolling down Rodeo with the shotgun. These people ain't seen a brown skinned man since they bought one, says the lyrics. Yeah, I never cared for Zach De La Roca. He's a radical Marxist. I don't know what you officially call him. Socialist, Marxist. He's a far leftist, just like Tom Morello. I'm viscerally annoyed by some of their philosophies and stuff, but they make good music. Now, "Testify," originally titled "Hendrix," when the song debuted live, due to its usage of a purple haze chord. Interesting. And then he used to play a song called "Testify." "Testify" is a neat track. Take the Power Back" is that's top notch. That's only their 7th biggest song. We Gotta Take the Power Back. "Bomb Track" is okay. Bomb Track's good. What else? "People of the Sun." It's okay. Didn't love it. "Guerrilla Radio." Lights off. "Guerrilla Radio." Turn that up. Okay, it's all right. What are their top 3? "Know Your Enemy." Love "Know Your Enemy." Oh, yes. Here we go. Check this out. Musically, it's one of the most diverse tracks in the band's early canon, sporting an almost festive-sounding slap bass-driven intro and a moody bridge featuring a memorable guest shriek from Tool frontman and old Tom Morello pal, Maynard James Keenan. Oh, and percussion from Jane's Addiction drummer, Stephen Perkins. I didn't know that. Yeah, Maynard James Keenan in that song is excellent. Finally, a couple songs here. I'm sorry this is taking so long. It's just slow to scroll. "Killing in the Name of." Now you do what they told ya. Now you do what they told ya. I used to play that to get pumped up to play tennis, Dad. I'd go to my tennis matches with my portable CD player and my headphones, and that was a song I would listen to. I'd just get so fired up to come out and just like play tennis as aggressively as possible. It's a weird thing to do for tennis, but that's what I did. And then number 1, "Bulls on Parade." Very riff heavy songs, very, very groovy tracks. Yeah, I'm happy for Rage Against the Machine. I don't care for them politically at all, but this is about music, not politics. And they were an important band of the 90s. And I used to gripe about WMMS growing up outside of Cleveland, along with 98.5, 97.5, WNCA, or what were they? Anyway, WONE, I don't know. But I just hated how when I grew up, it felt like the only music they played was stuff from the 70s and 80s. It was all AC/DC and Led Zeppelin, and it was all the same artists. It's like, but if you're going to be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, you need to be playing contemporary music. They were kind of stuck in a bit of a time warp.
99.5 is a classic rock station.
NCX, right.
98.5 NCX. They're a classic rock station.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what you're going to hear.
Yeah, but I felt like Cleveland radio really did live in the past. But it's like if you got the Hall of Fame, you got to look toward the future. You got to kind of also represent the artists that exist today. So yeah, one of the artists that I grew up on, a heavy influence in my life, Rage Against the Machine. I'm happy that they made it in. All right, let's move on to the next one, shall we?
Well, that's it. But they have.
Oh, is that it? Did we go through the whole list of the people that were nominated?
Yeah. but they have
There you go.
performers category, Link Ray and DJ Cool Herc.
I don't quite know who that is. Do you?
He's a Jamaican DJ that had one album out. So he'll be recognized in the musical influences category. So I don't know how many rap people are familiar with the Jamaican DJ that was influential on them. If they say he is, then he is. I mean, Link Ray was a guitar player from back in the 50s, and Rumble was an instrumental guitar song, one of Jimmy Page's favorite songs. And I think on that documentary, It Might Get Loud with Jack White, I think he plays it on the 45 on the record player, during that. But, I think that's the one I'm going on. But,
well, I guess let's do this then, and we could probably wrap this up. I don't know if you had any other tangents or thoughts or stuff you wanted to add before I do wrap this up. Anything else simmering on your mind you wanted to get to?
Not musical.
What about spiritual? What about hypothetical?
Hallelujah, amen.
Antithetical. What I guess final question here then, and we'll get to wrapping this up. Thank you everybody for watching. Appreciate you. How would you grade this year's class? If you were, you could get a 6. The lowest grade we can give is a 63, which is an F. Well, I guess we'll do a D- because they all passed because they're all in. But on a grading scale of 64 to 100, how strong would you grade this class of artists? I mean, Willie Nelson is a huge name. That's a big musical name, but he's not rock and roll per se. So he gets credit for longevity and gravitas, but he gets deducted because he's not really rock.
Garth Brooks has been the biggest name in country music, along with Toby Keith in the last 10 years. Are they going to be nominated next year?
Maybe.
They're the highest grossing concert ticket sellers. Garth Brooks can announce a concert and it's sold out like that.
But they play guitars? They play guitars?
Yeah, and they write most of their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're performers. They're musicians. They're not doing somebody else's material. I mean, yeah, they do cover some songs, but, they write songs for other people, So, my thing is rap should be separate. Country should be separate. Big band should be separate. Next Duke Ellington will be nominated,
And then Prince Ellington, and then Princess Ellington.
Yeah.
The Earl of Ellington.
The Duke of Earl, Gene Chandler.
Vishnavi saying bullet in the head, talking about the Rage Against the Machine song. Bullet in the head sounds like the Vax. Yeah. You have good taste in music, Brian and Dad. And he says, yeah, Link Ray was a homeboy from DC. So there you go, Link Ray. Yeah. But if you were grading this season, this class, what kind of grade would you give them overall? Is this a strong class, a middle of the road class? Is it super weak? Like you give it a 60. What did Chris Rock? He has a joke. He says, whew, he goes, went to the doctor, took my AIDS test, passed it, got a 65.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He got 1 point above a failing grade. He barely passed his AIDS test.
Put it this way, if I was on the committee, I wouldn't have nominated any of these people.
You wouldn't have put Willie Nelson, who plays guitar, and he's got that,
Not rock and roll.
Well, folk rock and roll, maybe folk rock.
No, country rock, country folk,
country R&B blues. I mean, there's a lot of overlap there, right?
I mean, where does it stop? They're going to put the Kingston Trio in, and
I mean, I get that you wouldn't put Missy Elliott in. I get that you didn't think the Spinners had the gravitas, but I mean, Rage Against the Machine deserves to be in. That is a rock and roll band that has had a couple decades of prominence, and we did talk about how they took their hiatus. And here's the other part of Rage Against the Machine that should not be overlooked. they also form, what is it, 2/3 or 1/2? I forget how many members exactly, but um, they are Audio Slave with Chris. It was basically they didn't kick him out, but uh, yeah, Chris Cornell took over for Zach De La Rocha, and it was like, oh my God, this is my favorite. Like, I don't like Zach De La Rocha and his whiny communist lyrics, but like, I love I love the groove. I love the bass lines. I love the drumming. I love the guitar work. The bong rattling bass of Mel Shocker.
You know, I thought Living Color was a better band than Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh. I just, when you said that, I heard
my friend Vernon Reed. Yeah.
Such a good song. Such a good song.
Yeah, I mean, they rocked. You know, you couldn't put them in a category. They weren't blues. They weren't.
I'm a cult of personality.
Called a personality. I mean,
one of the top 100 rock songs ever written.
They rocked it out. I mean,
have you ever seen them play? Have you ever gone on YouTube and or Rumble? Sorry, we gotta get away from YouTube because they're censoring and demonetizing and shadow banning. But have you ever gone and watched a live recording of In Living Color of Living Color rather?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking of it right now, and what stood out to me was like that drummer, like he was hitting cannons. It was almost like he was up off his seat. It was so aggressive and driving. Ooh, getting goosebumps. I want to pull that one up. I want to watch that song later.
You know, I met Vernon at the Jimi Hendrix event at the Rock Hall years ago, and I got to hang out with him for about an hour and a half, maybe. And great talent. I mean, and a really fun guy. But when they had everybody come out, everybody played their own set, you know, and then they had everybody come out on stage to do a grand finale kind of thing. And, you know, I'm thinking Kenny Olsen was there, and you know, Yogi from Buck Cherry, and a whole slew of people. And the end wrap up song, it was a little bit disorganized, where nobody knew which amp to plug into and plug their guitar into. Afterward, I'm sitting outside on the fountains with Vernon, and he goes, man, it was like the Twilight Zone or something, like that. An out of body experience, he said. It's like I'm wandering around on the stage and nowhere to plug a guitar into, and there's something playing and I should be playing on it. And we were laughing. He was laughing. And I said, well, you finally plugged in. He goes, yeah, you know. But it was just a fun moment in time.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Vishnava here saying, check out the connection to Link Ray and the San Francisco psychedelic movement in San Francisco. I was there. All right, very fun. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff to say about Link Ray. That sounds fun. Here, let me pull it since we brought it up. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. This is such an incredible song. I just want to play the opening riff to it, to where the drums come in. Bum bum bum. Yeah. Here we go. Just sit here and play the whole song, but like we're gonna get dinged with copyright.
Well, you know,
he reminds me of Lejean from Seven Dust a little bit. Maybe just because they're frontmen, black frontmen in rock bands, badass vocalists who happen to be black in rock bands. Yeah, a little bit of Seven Dust, Lejean vibes as well. I always forget that until I check out their video. Go, oh yeah, he reminds me of him too.
And if anybody listening wants to hear something really good, go and look up Alien Ant Farm doing Smooth Criminal online. I think it was on Jay Leno at the time. Just those three guys, and I mean, that's kind of how Grand Funk was back in the day. I mean, that much energy, you know, just
so powerful.
Yeah, just incredible.
Didn't Chris record Alien Ant Farm? I think he recorded Alien Ant Farm.
The lead singer, yeah, he worked on the solo stuff.
Dryden Mitchell. Dryden. Maybe his name is Dryden or Stryden. Dryden.
Dryden, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, see now you and I we're coming up with who are do we know the best bands that are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that need to be? Other than Grand Funk Railroad, of course.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually had
I'm looking
a couple worthy people here and there along the way, so it's been a lot of years where they got a lot of these people in, but now it's not the same prestige. It's not the Four Seasons and Dion and Ricky Nelson and
I got a list here, and I'm not sure how accurate and current these are, but Blue Oyster Cult, Billy. Actually, when I say this off the top of my head, if these are accurate and these bands are not in, we're gonna do rapid fire, and we'll wrap the show up.
All right.
We'll do rapid fire. I'm gonna name the artist. Tell me the first thing you think of. Is there any hit song that comes to mind as soon as I say the name? And do you think that they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? This is if they aren't, because I don't really, I got a couple of articles here. So Blue Oyster Cult.
No, too much cowbell.
Do you remember when you were with me, right?
Yeah, we had the
cowbell.
We had their cowbell, and you were going to take it. We ate all their food backstage. Remember?
Yes, I do remember. We were backstage.
And what Leonard Skinner?
What was it?
Leonard Skinner. That was the Ernie Ball 50th anniversary party.
Mm-hmm. Ernie Ball 50.
Yeah.
See, that's what NAMM needed to do. This year they didn't have a lot of I didn't find any concerts worth going to, honestly. It was
Mike Anthony from Van Halen was playing in the, I talked to him I met him years ago. I met him with Van Halen 20 years ago.
Yeah, we sat at the table we were sitting at, eating from the craft service table, having dinner with Blue Oyster Cult. The freaking cowbell was at our table. I mean, I don't know how that didn't walk away with me, how I didn't find a way to drape my coat over it and would just, how do you knock it? Needs more cowbell.
Well, and
so Blue Oyster Cult, the
ironic part, I can't remember who was playing drums with the band, with Paul Gilbert and all those guys. But Kenny Aronoff, who's played with everybody on everybody's stuff, he was relegated to playing the cowbell. He wasn't even the drummer for that group, which is pretty fun. He didn't care.
And that's Don't Fear the Reaper, of course. So do you think Blue Oyster Cult should be in?
No.
Okay. Billy Idol.
No.
I mean, he's kind of rock and roll. Right?
Yeah, but
not impactful enough?
He's playing small venues now. I mean, you went to see Aerosmith. Ted Nugent really wasn't a headliner. He was playing along with somebody else.
All right. What about Bachman Turner Overdrive?
Marginal. I mean,
America.
They got a few hit songs out there. They're not a rock band. They don't rock.
Motley Crue.
Huh?
Motley Crue.
I wouldn't nominate them.
I mean, they're rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
They were the 80s.
Yeah.
They were impactful during that decade. If you put 20 bands from the soundtrack to understand 1980s rock, I feel like Motley Crue you'd listen to something, whether it's Kickstart Your Heart or Girls. I mean, that was the 1980s rock scene with the big hair band.
Yeah.
What about Pantera?
Debatable. They weren't a top. They more or less had a cult following. They didn't appeal to the general musician. If you went to hear a cover band, I never heard anybody play a Pantera song. People were into Pantera, which is fine, but it's not somebody that would come to mind for me.
They're touring now, but of course, have you ever seen this picture? I don't know if you remember this one.
How are they touring without Dimebag and without Vinny?
I know. Yeah, you ever see this one?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep. That's when we met them. Yeah.
And read right up above, the perfect pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool picture here in the studio.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. They got Phil Anselmo, but they don't have, the rest of the band. So it's definitely strange, but I will say this. I enjoyed going to see Sublime with Rome. They don't have Bradley Nowell, the songwriter, the driving force who wrote all the songs and performed them, but you know what? It had the bass player, Bud Gaw, and it had, oh geez, I'm forgetting the other guy's name off the top of my head, but that was a great show to take in. And if Pantera does it right, I would love to see them live because that was the soundtrack to my high school football team.
Well, yeah,
that stuff played in the locker room nonstop, in the weight room nonstop. But I hear those songs, I'm just like, let's go.
It'd like being to go see. It'd be like going to see Cream with Eric Clapton and some unknown guy playing bass and some unknown guy playing drums because the other two are dead.
I know.
Like that isn't Cream. That's Eric Clapton doing Cream songs with other guys.
It's a cover band. What about Kansas?
Nah, just never into Kansas as a. They're more of an easy listening band in my opinion.
What about Oasis?
Some good stuff and some stuff I didn't care for.
Of course.
Noel Gallagher is talented, but
so is Liam.
Well, they're not a bang you upside the head rock band. They're not. They're not like the Black Crowes. Black Crowes have taken a little different road now. They're not playing the a little bit countrified now, but they're still relevant. I wouldn't nominate Oasis,
What about Foreigner?
That's a tough one because they did have a lot of hit songs.
Such as? What comes to mind?
Cold as Ice. There you go.
There you go. One song.
Yeah.
What about Foghat?
No, they weren't around long enough. They didn't have a.
Yeah,
and they were not.
I think longevity.
Band. I saw
as
them.
What?
We saw them a couple of years ago. That version of them, and they were not very good at all. Yeah.
Well, like you said, they become a cover band of themselves at some point. You're lucky if you have one original member. Eddie Money.
Probably out of all these people, him more than all these inductees this year.
Okay.
What the songs? I mean, he was one of the memorable acts from the Yes Festival. I mean, he drew people,
And what's the big Eddie Money song that comes to mind for you?
Well, Take Me Home Tonight. So I saw Southside Johnny sing it with Ronnie Spector.
That's a great song. I don't want to let you go till you see the light.
We saw Ronnie Spector at Soundcheck, remember? A couple years back. And NAMM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you put Eddie Money in. What about Boston?
As far as talent, yes. Longevity, they weren't around that long before they broke up. But Tom Scholz, the engineer, was the one that started Rockman and made all the effects pedals and stuff. Talent. I mean, they're a great band, and we're just talking about that the other day. The first Boston album is a classic rock album, a must-have album.
Mm-hmm.
I got it for Chris on a CD.
Yeah, there's some nice songs from Boston.
Yeah. You want to hear rock?
Yeah, Chris and I, we had some conversations about how underrated Boston was. What about Thin Lizzy?
Well, now you're letting in people that weren't around for 20 years. Thin Lizzy was not a headlining band either.
Well. By the way, but just so I put it out there, I mean, Kurt Cobain wasn't around for very long. He only put out, I mean, I guess if you count Bleach and if you go back to, if you count In Utero, there were a couple of, I mean, but like there were only 4 or 5 albums. Like it was from, geez, he died in what, 1990, 94, 96. He didn't have the longevity, but he had the impact, Kurt Cobain in that band.
Yeah. Well, they kind of took over that genre of music, kind of like Godsmack.
Oh, they ended hair rock. Yeah, they ended the hair
Godsmack.
band.
Godsmack changed the way music was performed. Creed did for a limited period of time. I mean, everything changed. All their stuff was relevant at that time. So you'd have to argue, should they be in the rock hall? You know, both those bands.
I mean, nobody was bigger than Creed for
No.
for that 3 album stretch when they were there. Nobody was bigger.
Or Godsmack. Godsmack was big. They changed.
Yeah, they never got as big, but yeah, Godsmack's great.
Yeah.
Judas Priest.
Now you're into metal, and I'm not a metal guy. You know.
But I'll agree with you there because I've never been a Judas Priest fan. But I think just on principle, Judas Priest. When you say rock and roll, you could easily put Judas Priest picture. You could play their music. You could look at that. Like I feel like they fit the mold of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee perfectly. You know, I can't tell you their hit songs, but I know that they're widely appreciated in the hard rock metal community. And I guess maybe in the same format, what about Motorhead?
Debatable, you know.
Debatable.
Yeah. I would.
Iron Maiden.
Same thing. I they're just not people that I would nominate. You know.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do enough, in my opinion, in order to nominate them.
Bad Company.
Probably more so than most of these acts, as far as you know, how long they were around, and you know, they still tour on occasion with most of the original guys. The bass player died, but and they were relevant. They'd have a hit song out, and a while later they'd have another hit song, and another one, and another one. Kind of like Bachman Turner kind of did the same thing.
Mm-hmm. What about Emerson, Lake and Palmer?
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's an easy yes.
Yeah. I mean, they combined the keyboards with a power trio kind of band thing with Greg Lake, Carl Palmer, and Keith Emerson. It was totally different.
Right.
It's more like the Godsmack thing, you know, it's Creed. It's like, here it is. Wow, that's different than everybody else. It was a Sgt. Pepper's kind of thing, you know.
Last one I'll ask you, because I guess there's articles here. 150. Oh, hey, I'll tell you what. This one says 150 rock artists that should be in the Hall of Fame. You know who number 1 is?
Who? Grand Funk?
Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah.
And then they got Pat Benatar, Jethro Tull, Three Dog Night, in addition to some of the other ones. But the last one I had pulled up here was, what about Peter Frampton? Peter Frampton.
Is he in there for no, Humble Pie isn't in there. Debatable. Again, we're not judging on talent, we're judging on longevity of solo career and whatever. And, you know, Frampton Comes Alive was one of the biggest selling albums ever, but
yeah,
now he's still recording. But if you ask somebody, you know, did you hear that new Peter Frampton thing? They go, is he still around? You know, it's that kind of. He hasn't stayed in front of the thing, like when Glenn Frey was putting the Eagles back together to do one of the first farewell tours or whatever. He said that him and Don Henley wanted a bigger cut out of the touring money than the other people in the band, like Joe Walsh and um, what's his name, the bass player. And he said, because we stayed relevant, we did solo projects that were always being played on the radio. We kept that name alive. And of course, they agreed to it, and they went out and toured numerous times since, that time and more times after that. But they kept everything relevant. They were always in the spotlight, and they were selling records. So.
Right. Final comments here. Vishnavi is saying, very hip and right on, old school wisdom. So he's enjoying this. And he says, Kurt Cobain, another junkie. He knows the truth behind that one. And let's see, Bad Company and George Harrison's son, George. Too much gangsta. Yeah. Kurt Cobain was a junkie, but he also had crippling stomach pains. He had crippling stomach issues, and he had gone many times to see doctors to try to figure out what was going on. And the only thing that helped him with his pain was heroin, unfortunately. And then, of course, there's that classic conspiracy theory: who really killed Kurt Cobain?
Who killed Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones?
So who was that?
They claim it was one of the contractors that was doing work on his mansion. It was a dispute over
Yikes.
An ongoing dispute. I just watched a documentary the other night. They said because he drowned, but he had no chlorine in his lungs. But there was a water trough there for like horses to drink out of. They think he drowned in there and thrown in the pool to make it look like he drowned in the pool. So, it can go, who knows?
Yeah, I think we should do a show with like the top rock conspiracies. I know you and I were talking about that. We almost did a Man on the Street, and we were going to kind of do a whole segment to do like the fake news game show. And we were going to kind of talk about that. We didn't finish producing the segment, so I didn't try to put it out. But yeah, that would be fun. Like to do you're putting together a book called what? It's All in a Name?
It's All in a Name, yeah.
Or two?
It's All in Another Name or two. Yes.
Get rid of the another. It's all in a name or two. I think. That's like when Zuckerberg, when they say, the Facebook. Get rid of the. Just make it Facebook. From that movie. It's pretty good scene. But we should do a show where we talk about the best rock conspiracies. That would be awesome. Like Weezer's bass player. We could go down the rabbit hole forever with these musicians. And suspicious things. I mean, geez, even today I'm seeing where they're saying Britney Spears isn't even Britney Spears. It's a face filter. And they've gone scene by scene, shot by shot. And as she moves her hand over her face, like from here to here, it is definitely a different lady. And then when the hand goes to here, the Spears face pops up. It's really weird. Now that could have been doctored, but we're in the age of artificial intelligence. It's getting harder and harder to see, to understand what we're watching. Is it accurate or is it something that's been manipulated?
There's a whole series on Access TV, Mysteries of Rock and Roll, and it's about all this kind of stuff. And it's been ongoing. I think this is the second season of it. A lot of the stuff I already knew of. But,
okay, one more final question since I have you. Speaking of artificial intelligence, there's something else that's happening. Have you seen where artists someone goes into an artificial intelligence program and says, I want you to write a song. Here's the lyrics. And I want it to be a Kanye West song or a Eminem song. And here are the lyrics. Go. And that artificial intelligence is taking the voices of these performers. Then they perform these lyrics into different music. And they create an entire song that sounds like the artist who's recorded all these albums. Like it's just taking like their voice profile and they're changing it around. I mean, like the future of music is going to be a lot of this. Do you have any thoughts on, bringing back people that are no longer around and new songs that people never actually recorded? It's going to happen. It's going to be a copyright nightmare, I suppose.
I
it's kind of like
that's the first I've heard of it. I don't have any opinion on it. But I have to go listen to the mayor of East Palestine.
Yes, go do that. Are you going to ask him any questions? You're
I
gonna?
don't know. I got to wait till I get there.
Okay, well, go run. I appreciate your time. Anything you want to plug today? Do you want anybody to check out anything?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. It's all in a name or two.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get that book published soon.
And if you want to see some good guitar playing, catch Phil Kagi live doing John the Revelator.
Okay. That's your recommendation.
Yeah.
And then if anybody wants to check that artificial intelligence thing out, type in Eminem Cats. It's Dad, do it. Just it's a 1-minute song. So as you're getting ready to go out there, type in Eminem Cats. And it's a fake song written about cats, sung by Eminem, but it's all artificial intelligence. And it's like, whoa. I mean, it kind of really sounds like Eminem half the time. And it's AI is just getting better and better with it. So,
Right.
Okay, cool. That's all I got.
Okay.
Have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your input. Oh, give me the letter grade on this year's class from 64 to 100.
I have some input here. 62.
It's got to be 64 or over because they obviously all passed.
I'd say 64 because they kind of missed the mark.
They missed the mark. All right, so weaker year.
They're stretching.
They're stretching.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe next year we'll get some a stronger cast of characters.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right.
Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Go fight for freedom and liberty and clean water and clean air because I don't know what's going on in East Palestine, but more attention needs to be paid to it.
All right.
Thank you for attending.
Shimon.
Later. Bye.
Bye.
All right. There he goes. Bob Engelman, the man, the myth, the legend, the future author. He's got a book. Yeah, it's all in a name or two. It's all about musicians who, it's all about the pseudonyms. It's all about, wait, that's not their real name? There's so much of this. Now, obviously, Madonna's not Madonna. There's so many, but like, yeah, as he started putting the book together, he's got hundreds and hundreds of people that go by stage names it's not their name. It is interesting. And it's a good concept. He's just got it's mostly written. It's done. He just kind of needs to finish it and publish it. So yeah, hopefully we can get that knocked out pretty soon. But yeah, anyway, thank you to everybody for participating in the show. This was a double program. Thanks to Blake Walley on the earlier Agree to Disagree show. We'll put that up on Rumble. We'll put that up. That'll be on YouTube, I suppose. And then, subscribe on Spotify, the Agree to Disagree show. On Twitter, we're at American_media_. Instagram.com/the new American media. We're on Truth Social and Parler. Don't do too much over there, but we're there. Facebook, the Agree to Disagree show, and TNAM Music. These are private groups, and we talk about music and sports and current events and politics all day long. So join us in all of those places. So wow, this has been a marathon of a show. So I just want to say I appreciate you. I love you, and we'll talk again soon. Take care.